Just as you said that, you suddenly cut off.
Oh yeah, we're fine.
Let's go live.
Let's go. What? What did you say? What? Okay, I think we're live. Fantastic. YouTube is not blown up on us as it has the past week. And thanks to everyone for joining us this evening. It's a bright, sunny Eastern Standard here in the Eastern Seaboard for me, of course. Everyone else is on their parts of the planet. But thanks for joining us. I have Glib, I have Shiny, myself, and Voice in the Radio. Thanks for joining us, guys.
That's completely subjective. We're not here.
Shiny's not really shiny, but we call him that just to make him feel good.
It'd be really funny if Shiny's real name was Matt in real life.
Just call him Matt.
Well, I'm very thankful that it's not.
Something wrong with the name Matt? Shiny?
No, because it's the opposite of shiny if you had an E.
Big brain.
Matt's my
Big brain
mortal
reference.
enemy.
You could do like an anti-shiny.
I do know someone called Matt.
The Shiny and Matt show with the glossiest production on YouTube.
Well, he's playing going to films. I don't know if I want to invite him on to talk about film.
Oh wait, so if he becomes a fucking painter for like backdrops, then it'll be the Shiny Effects and Matt Painter show.
Oh no! Oh,
I'm sorry, that's terrible.
Whole new word to Matt paintings.
Well, I can say that Sean is not Matt, so that works for me.
Well, that's excellent. Anyway, sorry about that, Smut. I just need to make a joke about that.
No problem. Okay, and this is a YouTube video brought to us by, let me just see his name here. ROW Pipe Shadow, no idea. That's fine. He has strange videos, and I just want to hear the general backlash, or rather the negative opinions of the hype, of the marketing. Maybe there's something to it. Maybe there's some people who aren't expecting a good product. And this is...
someone asked, when I said I have a friend called Matt, and he said, is he mundane?
No!
Thankfully, he's not. He's not mundane. Matt is a very good guy.
So there's lots of information about Cyberpunk. It's been released over the years. We know about the characters. We know about the setting. We know about the game it was inspired from. We know the stats, or some of the stats. There's a few stats. I'm not too sure if those are authentic or not. All sorts of screen caps, all sorts of videos. I think there's a 50-minute gameplay trailer or gameplay demo out there, or was it just a trailer? I think it was just a trailer for people to watch. So we have lots of content on Cyberpunk. So people can make their opinions before anything happens, before marketing happens, and that's fine. You can have negative opinions. I think that's great. It arouses discussion. It gets people out of their seats saying, hey, yeah, this could be good, this could be bad. So I think it's the biggest game that we're anticipating. I can't think of anything more exciting or anything bigger in size and scope, aside from maybe GTA 6 or...
Anything more massive.
It's massive. Oh, yeah. Design-wise, gameplay, storytelling, everything is just as big as it gets. And you'll need like the supercomputer just to get it to run. So if you guys ever want to do a career in visual effects or computer compositing or anything like that with graphics or sound, and you want to have a cool game, this is the one to get.
And you can learn all those skills on Skillshare.
On Skillshare, which I'm not going to link to. You know what? Maybe
you can get 5 months off Skillshare
no.
if you go into the non-existent link.
Yeah, right. If I ever wanted to promote something, it would have to be very, very specific to...
Audible.
Well, no. Well, okay, yeah, Audible would be good because that's where we can actually listen to books. That's pretty cool. I might do that.
Chad's book is available on Audible for download now.
Really?
I want to be sponsored by Pornhub.
Oh, boy. I don't know if you could actually get those trailers to work on YouTube unless you edit the crap out of them. That'd be hilarious.
Some
I want it to be
highly edited.
I want it to be like one thing to be like Pornhub, and then I want the other thing to be like the Christian Monitor newspaper or something. That'd be fun.
Didn't Rick and Morty have like a Pornhub like advertisement. Saying,
sure.
why does someone have a Pornhub account? It's like, oh well, it helps better recommendations in the future, and you get access to special videos.
That does remind me of the recent news I heard about Cyberpunk is that you can customize your genitalia, the sizes and
yeah. That's legitimately a thing, but we've done that before with Saints Row. That's what's interesting about it to me.
Mm-hmm.
I just wonder if there's going to be like a ball, like what SAG slider.
a
It's
sag
so
slider.
weird.
I have a question. To what detail is this?
We're just gonna have to find out, but to me, honestly, adjustable genitalia, that's proof that this game is just not gonna fail, because there's a whole group of people that are gonna want to buy it just because of that, and that's how crazy humans are.
Well, we already have a game like that called Conan Exiles. So if we look at the popularity of that game on that slider alone, if we had 2 sliders,
Oh shit! Twice the audience. We're gonna have 100 people playing.
Twice the power, double the fall.
yeah, but those polys are going to be like 50 times more polys. So it's like I don't know if that your computer is going to take.
triangles. Use
50 times the.
I'm gonna have to upgrade my rig to get ray traced genitalia
There
in my
you go.
video games.
That's
Oh.
right. I want light bouncing off every surface. Okay, then that's great. Now,
What is this?
sorry.
What have we become?
Well, when you're that concerned about having a slider for genitalia, and that determines popularity and quality, you want ray traced anything at that point. So if you're gonna go that far with detail, I want those things to shine. I want real time lighting. I want to walk.
You want them to be shiny.
Yeah.
They should do a whole fucking. That would be like a Devolver Digital. You know how they always do those goofy E3 advertisements that are satirical. If it was like a tech demo and explaining how incredible the engine was, but it was all about the 14-inch cyber genitalia that you can have in Cyberpunk. With like it's got subsurface scattering. We have
got
real-time
14
temporal
times the detail.
aliasing. You can even zoom in on the pube right here. You can see we have tessellation optimization. Like pops out right at you.
We all joke, but Shiny, this will likely be your job in the future if you continue down this.
if I go down the path.
You know what? There's a huge category of adult games that don't have a release date. They just get updated every month, and they're through Patreon. So you can make tens of 20s of...
So,
yeah.
Smud,
you know this through experience.
Yes.
You know what? By the year 2077, Shiny will be able to do like a Project Melody thing and become the #1 OnlyFans streamer or Twitch streamer or whatever by using his special CGI powers.
You would be surprised that my patrons ask me to check out to give my opinion on, and I'm like, "Yep, you paid the $5. I'm doing it." So I try like a 0.03 version of, I don't know the names, but there was a lot of sex, and we're talking 3D, we're talking 2D, all sorts of things. I'm like, yeah, cool. It was a very basic, straightforward story. Sorry?
I was really engaged by the plot.
You know what? It's actually, some of them are actually not bad. I'm surprised. The people who do this, they put their soul into it, even if they know it's titillation and whatever.
I don't think
That's
it's
true.
the soul you're supposed to be putting into it.
There's a hilarious. I'm gonna link it. I have to go to my Twitter to find it. But an anime shot where a guy is using a sniper rifle and he's using this woman's tits as a tripod basically or a bipod. And there's all this like jiggle physics and stuff, and then and people are in the West are freaking out about it because it's like you watch the bullet go in between like underneath some chick's legs, and you see all this detail and stuff, and you're like, wow.
Wait.
This must have been made by some sort of misogynistic man that just wants to treat women like objects. And then you find out it's animated by a woman, and you're like, yeah.
I think I know what you're talking.
Checkmate.
That one is High School of the
Count
Dead.
on the chat.
High School of the Dead. That's right. It's High School. I love that.
This is certainly a tangent.
Well, it's actually not that much a tangent. I think we're going to get into, because we're actually tangentially and in a weird way, we're making our way to the reason why this game is not going to fail. There's too many things going for it to make it so that it's just going to straight up fail. Unless everybody asks for a refund because the game sucks, it's just not going to happen.
Mm. Also, I just want to point out, like, you're talking about the game feel. That I'm least trying for visual effects. I suppose I could do game, but
well, it's something that somebody mentioned in the comments. I thought was interesting. Blood Red Tulip says. Well, no, over here, in the chat.
Shiny,
well, with Unreal 5, they're able to render environments in real time without loading screens and with 4K textures, which is true because Unreal, as you know, is like...
Yeah.
Honestly,
what I'm just trying to get at is that the line between real-time rendering for movies and real-time rendering for video games is going to get smaller and smaller, which might give you more options with your expertise. It's actually a really good time to be getting into what you're doing, without me being glib.
Yeah, I have plenty of opportunities right now because I can go into visual effects, and then if I want to, I can just swap at any time to video games, because a lot of the things like asset creation and texturing, it's the same for video games as it is for visual effects. It's usually visual effects just go a lot more high poly and a lot more high resolution.
Exactly. Video games. But so with Unreal Engine... Sorry, I interrupted you. Yeah, it renders live. Yeah, so it's like scalable polys, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if we really want to have this discussion about what to do with Shiny's potential career or side hustle, we can definitely have that.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to bring it back around to what we were talking about.
No problem.
Chinese career stream. Let's talk about that.
Honestly, Shiny, if you want to make a few $1,000s a month being a modeler for whatever, there is a market for it. There's always a market for it. You just have to find it, and you'd be surprised the quality of some of the stuff, even if it is R-rated or higher. There is all you're doing is your job. You're giving what the people want.
Look, I just want to point out, like, you know how fucking difficult it is to create human beings, right, in 3D.
Oh yeah,
it's not easy.
Oh, absolutely. There's a whole group of people that are specifically doing that. You know what I mean? It's really difficult to get good at that.
I tried to do it for something I'm working on for LiteratureDevil, and I thought, okay, well, I can do this. I've got 4 weeks left. I can crack this out in 4 weeks. 3 weeks later, well, this kind of fucked up. I'm gonna have to just animate an arm. That'll have to do.
The professionals I've met, when they do it, they always have a prefab model and then they play with it. It's never from scratch. Yeah. So,
I get those paws stretching.
I kind of realized that, but the problem is I don't have any prefabs.
They are expensive, but once you get one, you're right.
Like all of the like really high detailed ones you can think of, like the CGI Peter Cushing and forgotten his name in Fast and Furious. The guy who died. Forgotten his name.
Vin Diesel?
No, Vin Diesel's not dead.
Darn. I never saw the movie, but I wish that were the case.
I thought you were just wishing that.
Paul Walker, thank you, yes. The reason why they look so highly detailed is because they had 3D sculpts of their faces just to hand, and or someone to act as a double in the case of Paul Walker.
Well, you can also do 3D scans of someone's face as well.
Right, yeah. You can do this 3D scan thing now, and then what's interesting is if you have the source animation, then you can just use that as a map for facial expressions and then apply that map to other people, which is kind of what the deep fake thing is about. They just haven't perfected it because certain muscle systems aren't rigged as detailed in the virtual model as they are in real life. So you see weird tweening and stretching that doesn't look very real. But this is all kind of off the point. What I think, and
doesn't deepfake doesn't it make certain blurs to try and make it hide the details in some places?
Like little tiny morph cuts, little tiny tweening animations to try and do predictive frames, and then that does impossible musculature movements. And so if you're not trained, but if you're tuned into it, or if you're just paying attention, or if you have a brain that's wired this way, you can obviously see sometimes when these things don't make sense. I know this is another aside. What's really scary to me is the vocal synthesis stuff, which we should play at some point on the stream for fun, because they have like JFK doing the Navy SEAL copy pasta, or George Carlin reading the Bible.
I've seen some of those.
Yeah. So the future is very scary. It's like
I saw one. I saw two cool things this week. One was about voice, and they actually generated sadness from an AI, which was pretty impressive.
Whoa.
Yeah. There's actually a YouTube video I'll show it to you.
Did it die of sadness?
No, it didn't die. I'm just saying it emulated.
No, I was referencing Padme. Oh, fuck's sake. Padme died of sadness.
Yeah.
Padme I.
Poor Padme. Oh, poor Padme. Jesus.
That'd be that. That's a creepy way to look at it. Like Anakin came up with an AI to keep Padme alive, like not actually alive, but just like the upload style thing where you just download someone's consciousness, and then like creepy, you play it back, like the Minority Report. Remember when he's watching the 3D videos of it? I don't know. I'm off topic, but as far as I'm concerned, I feel like the thing that we're talking about right now, this video, and we'll get into the actual technology, I think after. That'd be an interesting thing to do because it's kind of a short video, but I feel like all of these themes and ideas are going to coalesce into Cyberpunk, and the idea, like as I was saying before, is going to be enough to drive this thing home. Because I was saying it yesterday in chat to you guys, I feel like this is The Witcher 3 with guns, and it's not like saying it's Fallout 3 with guns. It's actually a compliment to me. So I'm very curious as to see how this game could fail. Besides being having a bad story and boring gameplay, and that's it. Like, or having a small map that doesn't have a lot of stuff going on in it. Those are the only ways I could see it being bad. Because even a mediocre game like Deus Ex Mankind Divided is still heavy to think about. It still has choice. It still has some interesting gameplay ideas. It's still an improvement on the previous gameplay-wise. So I'm very curious as to see what the argument is going to be here.
Especially when you have a Knight Rider-style car and you're listening to synthwave and it's first.
Yeah.
Like, that's just like that's enough for a lot of people just to go, oh my God, yes, please. So
in 2077, my city was voted the best city in America.
Yeah. And then that music just shut off with like 20 million views in the next month.
And then the Fire Nation.
I love that. And then the Fire Nation. That would actually, sorry, this is another tangent, just, it's not really, but it'd be really cool if somebody made like a future Avatar setting, like The Last Airbender or something like that, but it was like in the future. And I know they probably tried to do that with the Korra thing, but I think modern, like that aspect would be very interesting to play with. This, what is it? Pathfinder? Or what is it? What's the cyberpunk game that has magic in it? That's like D&D, but it's in the future. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Shadowrun. Thank you. Sorry. A Shadowrun style game, but like Avatar.
I'm still waiting for another sequel. They have a few. Hong Kong, I think, was the latest, but it's been a while. So
yeah,
I miss
like that game. I'm a huge fan of turn-based strategy games and the tabletop look, that kind of RTS.
That's I would say high science fantasy. It has like a little bit of everything in it, and it's because of that there's no real centralized element. There's always magic, there's always hacking, there's always tech, there's always cybernetics, there's dragons, there's just so much stuff going on. You're like, okay, this is a big giant, like you think Cyberpunk itself is messy. This is just a mishmash, and it's hard for me to get a vibe. Like when you get a vibe for, let's say, the Shannara Chronicles or the Lord of the Rings or even Star Trek, you're like, all right, I get the technology here. Like with Star Wars, it's sort of never really explained. It's just this generic gun, generic laser thing, generic lightsaber. Like you never know what's powerful. It's always deadly or nothing.
It's sort of like a past-based extrapolation. It's not really. My favorite thing about Star Wars is it says in the beginning a long, long time ago, and that kind of messes with everything that you're going to assume about it being the future or being, Earth being somewhere there. It's intentionally putting you outside of that and into this fantasy world.
It also informs the art style and of the technology specifically. So all the technology doesn't look like, for instance, Star Trek. It looks a lot more gritty and a lot more. It looks even less advanced than some of the technology they would have had in the 80s. It's like there's no proper computers which are similar to what we had in the 80s, like you saw in Star Trek. Everything was like kind of grungy and old, and it wasn't all high tech, even though it's more advanced than what we have.
Yeah, exactly.
Now we have that motif of flying holographic HUDs, and it's just these haptic interfaces.
Fuck that.
They look disgusting.
I gotta be honest.
Saw a great.
Sorry, go on, Shanny. Yeah,
I saw a great video about the holographic HUDs by what's his name? I think it's something Henry. CH Henry. I have to find his channel again.
I think it's EC Henry.
That's it. EC Henry.
The designs the Star Wars ships.
Oh yeah, he designed the fan designs of the Y-wing and the B-wing Mark II.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did a great video on the HUD because it's just so lazy for Star Trek.
He also did a terrible video on why Luke in The Last Jedi is perfect. So
he's made some more questionable, like some of his videos are great,
but he's also made some gold.
I know, yes. So like, awful holograms in Star Trek, great. And he's obscured ships in Star Wars that he's brought back to life. They're great.
Really cool. Yeah,
I know that they're gorgeous. So like a lot of his work can be hit and miss. Like some of his Star Trek ones, like how great the Klingons look, quotation marks, in Star Trek Discovery. Like he's made some weird videos and he's made some really good ones.
Okay, guys, let's get started. I think we've been rambling on. Oh, I got a super chat I should read first. Thank you, DBDU5L. Just got out of the ER, ouch, and this is what welcomes me. Good timing. Well, talk about cybernetics and why that might be bad. Yeah, I guess that might be an ideal release from the ER, depending on what happened to you. Hopefully nothing too dangerous.
I hope he's okay.
Yeah, for sure. Hope everything's well. Okay, let's get started.
2077. 5 years ago, there was a trailer that was released. Now, we got this trailer and expected the game to be released in the same year, or at least the one after. But here we are, 5 years later. And we actually got something, finally. We've waited this long and they delivered. A game that looks visually and interactively stunning. Yet, I have a problem with this. CD Projekt has been known for the Witcher series, and like Marmite, some it, some hate.
Oh, jeez.
He mentioned the Marmite.
Where in the world do you think this gentleman's from? Just maybe. Who can choose?
I wouldn't possibly know.
I can't believe that he mentioned Marmite. Did he know that we were going to watch this video?
See, every time someone mentions this, or every time we have a stream, someone, or like Shiny, will mention Marmite, and then it's like, are we just going to get Marmite to find out what this thing is all about? Because it's annoying. Anytime,
I actually want to see your reaction.
Anytime someone mentions
it's a Gundam. Sorry, I was just going to say, it's a Gundam got it on his, somebody sent him Marmite in his mailbag thing, because he has a P.O. box, so he tried it on stream, and that just came out like a week ago or something like that. So it's like what's that effect? The Dunning-Kruger effect or something? No, it's not the Dunning-Kruger, it's the other one, where it's like once you see one thing, then you see more and more of it. So now I can't get away from Vegemite and Marmite because I just see it everywhere.
You cannot escape. No, it is not.
It is.
Don't fall for it. He's lying to you.
No,
we also have to do, if we do like a thing, we should all do like a taste test. We should do Vegemite versus Marmite on stream and be like, which one's worse?
Well, the reason why is because once I hear an ingredient that I've never had before, especially food or seasoning, I really want to know, because it's going to nag me. Because once I know something, I'm like, oh, I know quinoto from Italy. I know foie gras from France. I know these flavors. All right, I know what to expect. But you keep saying Marmite. Is it pickles? Is it some sort of nutty flavor? Is it salty?
It's extremely umami because it has a shit ton of glutamate in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's really weird, and I honestly don't. I'd love to know what the health benefits are, because it's a yeast byproduct, and it's like, wow, man, do you really want to eat that much yeast? I already, what is it? Chub up a little bit because I'm drinking beer sometimes. You
Don't
know what I mean?
exactly eat it by the spoonful. It's a spread.
Right,
spread,
exactly.
You spread it on a bagel or a bit of bread.
Toast.
By itself? Now, does it go with anything?
Cheese.
Or is it just you just eat Marmite?
strong cheddar cheese?
Some people some people have like Marmite just by itself.
Yeah, those are weird.
It's so it's always funny to me when people are like, white people they don't have any seasoning on anything, and then you're like, oh yeah, you have to eat sharp cheddar cheese on Marmite. I'm like, that's the most extreme like sharp flavor I can think of. Like
Cheese
seasoning
sandwiches.
Seasoning for
Delicious.
Nordic people and stuff is like pickling it to death.
It just nags me. It's not a big deal, but anyway, every time.
No, but we should. I will get it, Smud, and I will report back if you want, like for one of these Smudcasts, and we all report back our Marmite findings. Eat it on stream so chat can hear our reactions. I would love that.
Me and Voice need to mail you some Marmite, but everyone, and then we just all have a bit of a taste, shall we? That on stream.
I mean, that's
Brilliant.
Okay.
All right.
Obviously, like we can use the funds from the stream to fucking pay for the postage.
I think we can get it around here, though. I think they ship it to America. There's got to be one or two people that eat it here.
Marmite on steak for Smut. That's one way to ruin your steak.
Oh, by the way, I know this is an off-topic thing, but Smut, have you ever tried pick-up pepper sauce?
No.
All right, I'm gonna link you that. That's totally an aside, but it's a Jamaican steak sauce.
Interesting. Okay, cool. Very cool. Always open for new condiments. I always appreciate opening up my eyes to new culinary experiences.
Yes.
Just because we happen to be surrounded by the Brits and they just say things, and I'm like, "What are you talking? That's not. Is that food? Is that really okay?" I've never heard of that before. So, yeah, it happens.
No, Marmite's not food.
We need an icon, super chat icon now that's just consume Marmite.
I will endeavor to do that, I guess.
Almost got one. Like he got a new space for an emoji. In his thing, and he almost put it to Marmite.
Yeah, the pickle pepper thing is tomatoes, onions, sugar, cane vinegar, mangoes, raisins, garlic, salt, pepper, thyme, and clover. Very interesting.
That is a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get Jamaican one.
That sounds raisins. Yeah. Once you start using sugar like that capacity, there's probably it's too complicated for the average palate. So you'd have to really be grown up in that to know it. It's the same with ginger beer.
Do you like worst? Oh, you don't like ginger? Do you like ginger beer?
I love ginger beer. It's just that there's special.
Okay,
kinds.
yeah, me too.
There's all kinds. We only get a few of them in Canada. That's why. And I know it's not great, but it's like, oh my god, someone actually makes ginger beer. And then the stuff I get at the supermarket, which is just pop, is better than the stuff I would buy at the LCBO. So.
That's crazy.
It is.
But do you like Worcestershire sauce or however
I like
you pronounce
all
it?
kinds of There's very few things I don't like, so it's really about
okay, good.
Finding something I've never tried before. So
we're gonna have to spin off a show and just like have international food discussions.
Yeah, I know. I could really almost eat everything, so it's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, we can have the American fine dish of burgers and McDonald's.
Yeah,
and
that would be, it wouldn't be a bad idea
rich.
if we split it up and it was all right, everybody eats it. We all have to have some Canadian stuff, and then you guys have to have some American stuff, and then Smart and I will have some traditional UK stuff, and we'll talk about it.
The problem, the Voice. I think are you thinking what I'm thinking? But the problem is they're not going to be able to get it there.
I hate
fish. I'm thinking fish and chips.
Yeah, like real cod. Yeah, I don't know where to get a good thing of fish and chips. It's hard here.
Amazing cod. So
what about
get good fish and chips. What about a full English breakfast?
Yep.
I can probably get a full English breakfast. There's a couple places that are actually English. The problem is that a lot of people don't seek out English cuisine.
Exactly.
They usually go for like pubs.
Mm-hmm.
Go try a Guinness.
Oh, I love Guinness. I drink Guinness all the time.
I have Guinness cocktails. They're great. Yeah, fantastic stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, this is totally off topic. But by the way,
Let's keep going.
in Cyberpunk 2077, you can eat Marmite.
If there is not a Marmite option in Cyberpunk,
The reason why it will fail is because there's no Marmite. There's no Marmite in the game. That's why it will fail.
and I mean, Shiny memes that it tastes terrible, but it doesn't.
Are you trying to trick them into eating it?
No, it's good.
No, it isn't.
I like it.
You like it? Okay.
I'm not
Well,
being sarcastic in the
Voice,
slightest.
I'm afraid it's time for you to leave.
Never.
No,
I am right in this regard.
you're not.
Very much.
Oh, we'll have to have a vote on this.
Someone just said marmalade in the chat. That's one of my favorite jams. I should stop talking about food though. So anyway, just got a super chat. Thank you, Mr. EC Cons. Recently started playing Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. I am completely alien to the world of Monster Hunter. I've heard great things. It's super popular. It's multiplayer, I believe. So yeah, glad to hear you're enjoying it. Okay.
However, with Cyberpunk, I don't. Why, you might ask? Well, I mean, because the game feels like a cheap knockoff. What's up, guys? It goes Raw Shadow here. Make sure to subscribe to keep up to date on content. I post anything and everything about video games on this channel.
In Cyberpunk 2077, you can fully customize your character using a deep customization system. For the
Right there. This first part feels recycled. I mean, look at all the other titles we've had. We've had Fallout 4, we've had Saints Row, where you can customize your character, change the size, add facial features. There's nothing really new.
I just want to point out Fallout 4 has a terrible character customization system. So that's not a good example.
I just want to know what the argument is, because most games have this anyway. You expect it.
And the thing is, it's a difficult system to get right, and a lot of games haven't been able to get it right.
You know how Fallout has the special system? So that's expected from the Fallout games. With Cyberpunk, you have those based off the tabletop games, and they also have something very similar. But when I read about it, I thought, this is really different. Let me just go through the list here. So how special is like strength, perception, etc.? Cyberpunk has luck, attractiveness, movement allowance, intelligence, reflexes, cool, body type modifier, and then empathy. So you have a stat just for cool. How cool you are.
Oh, I'm gonna get fucking 10 out of 10 with that.
I can't wait to play a low cool playthrough. I wonder how many story choices are different, or like dialogue choices, because that reminds me of the when you play Fallout 1 and 2 as somebody who has really low intelligence and people react to you differently. I want to see what that's like. Like if people will, if there are some
really
dialogue options.
really dumb.
Yeah, exactly. Like so let's say that you're like you make a really pretty meat-headed character. You can role play in that sense. If the game and these sliders and stuff actually have an effect, and it's not just an aesthetic, it's probably a really, really deep RPG experience, something that we really haven't experienced in a long time. But I'm not sure, because The Witcher, to me, it still had the procedural elements of a game that, there's a limited amount of choices, even though the choices are impactful. This is one of the reasons why I had so much fun playing it. I don't think that they're going to deviate that far from that formula, because I think that they want to make it work, because it's like a 7-year investment, So I think they're going to play it safe, even though that they're going to try and integrate everything and that they can come up with into a unified idea. So like what cool effects, I don't know, but I imagine that it will be maybe a binary dialogue changer, so that you get one type of dialogue over another.
Well, it was interesting. I remember in Shadowrun, the spirit, you had to have a certain amount of spirit. And that's the main stat to being a magician. But if you wanted to modify your body, every time you do that, it would take away the spirit, because you needed some essence of humanity, and because you were taking out body parts and replacing them with cybernetic implants. So because of that, you couldn't be a mage, or your magical powers were being diminished, but you got like a sweet ass upgrade, or claws on your hand or what have you. So there were costs and recourses to what you did, which I really appreciated in that game. So
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I was thinking, how close do you think it's going to be to The Witcher's gameplay, video game wise, versus Cyberpunk 2020's tabletop role playing style? Because if they can hybridize that into a video game that has not as much freedom as a tabletop game, but with the same rule set, I think it might be incredible.
It's
much more than overhyped.
Probably going to be closer to Deus Ex, honestly, because Deus Ex, if you remember Mankind Divided, they really upped the amount of equipment and skills you had at your disposal.
Right.
And that was essentially still a first-person game, so it's going to look and feel like that a little more. Probably more action-oriented, probably more like dashes and jumps and wall jumps and that sort of thing. So I'm not sure how that's going to work with the level design and the environmental factors like breaking boxes and what have you. But it seems it's going to be more close to, I can go stealth, I can go non-lethal, I can charm before I go into guns blazing. So there's going to be more options for gameplay, and that's going to be consistent. Whereas with Deus Ex, everything was kind of more of an obvious puzzle, even though it was like a big level in the second game. I think that because they learned their lesson from the first, Deus Ex shaped up a bit better in Mankind Divided. But you could tell it was lacking here and there. You wanted to do a little bit more, and with this, you have like smart bullets and smart guns, and like you could shoot through walls, you can see through walls, you could wall jump, you could do all sorts of climbing. You have retractable blades in some cases, so there's all sorts of gameplay options based off your stats, based off your equipment, how many cybernetic implants you've got. So yes, lots and lots of options to play. I don't think it's going to be anywhere close to what The Witcher was. The Witcher was sword play, third person. There was dodging, but that was the main mechanic. Like most games these days like that are dodging. Even with the Souls franchise, you're always defending or dodging.
I'm kind of sick of that, to be honest. I've been playing Jedi Fallen Order, and I never thought I'd get to it, but I'm kind of sick of the Dark Souls countering is God system. Somebody in comments was saying, or chat was saying, like Ghosts of Tsushima or whatever is gonna blow it out of the water. I'm like, they're not even close to the same game at all. I don't understand how they're gonna overlap. And the combat thing that interests me is because I've never played Cyberpunk, but I read the rule book and I learned about the interlock system, which is really interesting. The stat system that they're using for this game is almost the same as the one that they used in 1988. But you have all the benefit of the developments that Pondsmith, the guy that's writing the game, had to on the different editions. And what's interesting is there's a new edition to this game that's coming out in 2020 for the tabletop called Cyberpunk Red.
Yep.
I think that's like to reference CD Projekt Red. So what would be really interesting to me is I haven't done the research, but how close are these two things? The tabletop game revision and the current video game that they're releasing. I would be very interested to see how those two things interacted with each other, because if they're using this life path system that existed in the original Cyberpunk, I don't know how much of an RPG this is, where there might be a bridge between your points and dice rolls and Twitch gameplay and constantly updating stats. Like, let's say, I'm not saying it's in this, but imagine a game where you're eating food, and if you don't eat enough food, then your strength stat in that moment is down, so that you have to buff it back up, that kind of thing. I'm curious to see if there's some sort of pushback from the game itself to not make it so that you can just min-max your stats and be like,
yeah, I don't think
whatever, you know?
They used Pondsmith's talents to do game design. I think they just used him for storytelling, all the elements that were in 2020 or Red, that they wanted to, all the factions, all the groups, all the characters, like that's why they needed him. I don't think they used him, and I could be wrong, but I don't think they used him for gameplay things, because that's their thing. That's what they're good at. So they probably saw it, what it was. Okay, we're going to use this, and there's some things we can't do, obviously, and maybe we have to invent some stuff. Like some of those like stats are just strange. I'm like, cool, what the hell is that supposed to be? Is that charm? Is that looking cool? Is that being cool? Is it luck? But there's already a luck stat, so I don't know.
And it's also a sequel that's set many years after the initial. I think the first one was set in 2013, and this one's taking place in 2077. So it's an expansion on what already existed before. So it technically isn't going to be the same, obviously, as the ideas that were in the 1988 iteration, because the time moves forward. What is it? 50 plus years or whatever.
Yeah, and then compare that to the author of the Witcher series. Imagine he was that involved in the Witcher creation of the game. Imagine how much better the Witcher experience would have been for players. Now,
didn't the author really not like the game?
He pretty much sold the rights and said, "I hate this thing." Yeah, so.
Well, he's a drama queen in that sense. Like he's flip flopped back and forth about he was upset about it, but then he feels like he could have made more money, and it's just
think of it
exhausting.
This way. If it's your creation, you're always going to be slightly sensitive with how it's been adapted. R. Tolkien wasn't entirely happy with how the films turned out, or his family weren't anyway, because it's your creation, it's your baby.
So, I can see that.
You get a bit touchy.
Yeah, no, it's totally understandable. But because Pondsmith was so if honestly, he's a really humble, nice guy. So if you are a D&D rule book maker, and CD Projekt Red comes to you and say, "Hey, we want to make a video game off your stuff," it's like it's like Microsoft knocking on your door. "Hey, we want to give you a few $100 million. Is that good with you? Can we help you out here?" It's like, yeah, okay, come on in. And I get creative control. Holy, yes, sir. Where do I sign up? So yeah, that's amazing. And who wouldn't want to go for that ride? It's kind of
shut up and give me your money.
Yeah, it's like HBO coming to George R. R. Martin. It's like, yes, of course you can make TV shows off my 7 books. Why not? So that's what it's like, and this is the game version of Game of Thrones, essentially. What happened?
Well, maybe we know now why not.
Well,
maybe we have covered what possible reason you'd have to not do that.
The result of the last season of Game of Thrones, of course. But just think about the opportunity and what Mike Pondsmith was given. And how humble and just he was beaming for 3 years there, talking about all the cons he went to, the conversations he had, traveling around Europe. That's a dream come true for anyone, especially a hardcore tabletop guy getting his game made into a video game. That's amazing. That's just a great story to hear about. Oh, here's a super chat from Dennis. Thank you, Dennis Marquez. Andrzej Sapkowski sold the rights to the game, and when he saw how much money it made, he wanted more. Exactly. That's when he got really salty about it. And that goes with anyone who misses the opportunity, whether you're talking about the stock market, or you're talking about a job, or you're talking about a girl you missed. It's the same feeling. It's like, oh, that could have been me today. And sadly, exactly, he lost it. So.
Well, another thing might be that he's jealous because his books, while big in Poland, they weren't big in the rest of the world, and The Witcher was pretty much what brought. While it didn't bring his books, they kind of did a little bit because people wanted to know more about the world. But The Witcher was famous throughout the entire world, and his book remained. Is just his book in his own little country.
Yeah, and let's be honest, it only really took off with The Witcher 2. So Witcher 1 was a buggy, slow mess. It was ambitious, and it was one of their first projects, and it was just horrible. So they learned a lot of lessons. They cleaned it up.
It's honestly amazing to me, how quickly this brand new studio turned around after a handful of games and just turned around and said, "Hey, look, here's Witcher 3."
And it started from the quality and the effort from Witcher 2. Honestly, that's where it started, and that's where I got interested in it, because I tried The Witcher 1. I was, this is not fun. This is breaking my computer, and it was slow and buggy as hell. And usually, Obsidian or Black Isle or all these other great studios that produce, Troika, that produce great stuff, everything they do is experimental and buggy as hell. And then you wait a year or 2 or 3 until the mods come in or they update the patches, and the games are brilliant as they should be, even though they're still not perfect. But those are the games we look for, the diamonds in the rough. And with CD Projekt Red, they just make diamonds. They don't. There's really nothing. Yes, there's minor bugs like Roach teleporting on a house and all kinds of bugs. I think they called it the Glitcher a few months there, but.
I'm pretty sure they programmed Roach, and this might just be rumor, but they apparently programmed Roach to have some bugs in its pathfinding specifically for comedy purposes.
Really? That's
pretty funny.
interesting.
I'm not sure if that's true. A friend of mine who's a big fan of CD Projekt Red's work basically just told that to me, and I was like, oh, okay.
And I can imagine just how horrible the crunch is there. There are stories of that over the years. So this is still an industry thing. Can you imagine the pressure? Never mind Naughty Dog, never mind all those other studios that do great work or big projects. This is the biggest. This is as big as it gets. Outside of Rockstar, of course, and Blizzard. So, here's another super chat from Dennis. Thank you, Dennis Marquez. The Witcher 3 fulfilled all the promises Dragon Age Inquisition made. Let me think about that for a second. Dragon Age Inquisition is a party-based game, and The Witcher is a single-player adventure. So, yeah, open world, dynamic dialogue, a few branching paths, not too many, I think. Gigantic quest system, all sorts of customization. Yeah, it's one way of looking at it, depending on what they promised. I have to think about Dragon Age Inquisition just because
I thought you were actually joking there, but you were actually thinking through it. I thought there was going to be some kind of punchline.
No, it's true. There are problems with BioWare and everything.
Who would have known? No, I thought like there was going to be some kind of sarcastic thing there. No, is that? Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, let's just keep on going then.
Well, obviously the game's terrible, but I thought like you were going to say, well, these games are nothing alike. But I don't know anything about Dragon Age games, so I wouldn't know.
That's a whole other conversation.
It's just your delivery.
Yeah, I know. I'm too stoic. I get it.
Who there?
This is an RPG, so before we find our backstory, what you choose here will unlock different possibilities later in the game.
Yeah?
Also,
The thing that I don't get, why have 3 backstories? What's the need for this? And
Oh my god.
What do you mean?
What a
It allows
fucking
you to
moron.
It allows you to customize your character. Like one thing that was quite neat about the very first Mass Effect game is that at least in the beginning, somewhat your choices of your backstory would actually have influences, and unfortunately the influences got less and less throughout the future games. But in the first one, there's like references. It's like someone will say, "Oh, you grew up as a spacer. Oh, you just did it to avoid taxes." And there's like lots of little interesting ways the world will react to you based on how you created your backstory, and that's nice. That's actually a really good thing to do. So I don't see the problem here. If my only problem is with the system is that they didn't implement it more and more widespread throughout the 3 games. One of the biggest differences in the 3rd game is that you might have a mother who'll be referenced, and you might be able to call her in the Citadel DLC, again, depending on what start you decided to have.
Right, that was the first thing I thought of, just because I know Mass Effect, the exact same setup. You have a psych profile from 3 options. You have a background profile, military background profile, 3 options. And as you said, the first game, there's that 1 or 2 mentions, but that's it. You might get a little bit in the second. You might get 1 or 2 emails in the third. I know Liara makes a comment about that, but it's those little details that just from the starting point, hey, you're from this part. There's all kinds of fantasy RPGs out there I've been playing from Obsidian. They do that with a lot of their games, where you choose all these backgrounds, and then there's sub-backgrounds. So you have, like, you're from the north, but you're an elf from the north. So that changes how people react to you. So there's all kinds of little details that the RPGer loves. And I don't know why this guy is seeing this as a bad thing.
This is a role-playing game, so surely the more options you have to customize the history and life choices of your character is more immersive to the concept of a role-playing game. It's an RPG. You're a key factor of an RPG is like This is the adventure of custom character Poo Pants and his quest to unlock the magical assortment of special MacGuffins.
Something.
I want to try and expand. Oh, okay, I gotta say, I want to try and expand
go
on what Smudge was saying. So, one thing that's kind of very universal around when it comes to any kind of artistic or creative endeavor is small details, especially in visual effects, is that the best I can say, because that's at least within modeling and texturing. The small details are very important. They can often be just as important as the bigger details, because even though these aren't going to be quite up as close, the fact that they are there just it changes things. It can often change a lot. It can make things come alive. If you have a Star Destroyer without all these little details on, it's like, what's the point? Oh, there's little details. The Star Destroyer looks shit. But if you have a Star Destroyer model with all these little tiny details, it really brings it to life. And that is the same when it comes to storytelling. And when it comes to here, these small details can really bring a game to life. And that is exactly what they're doing. And that is a great thing. These small details are important, even though he's trying to infer that it's not somehow. Or like it doesn't matter.
The great thing about these three background elements is one of them is why not? Like, so why are you here? To me, that speaks to the plot. Say, what are you doing here? What's the purpose of your existence? And it's like, I have this whole motivation to achieve a goal. The second one is a key life event, so the death of a sibling, you ran away, a first big kill. That could be like why people know you, what you're famous for. You're always going to reference that. It's always a nice little touch to a conversation, if that's an element. And I don't know what childhood hero is. That's sort of strange, but I wish there were 20 of those things. I wish there were all these little things you could tweak and touch before you create your character. That would be brilliant, to have these little nuances of who you are as a character that you get to control. But that's just my personal taste when playing a game. Everything is scripted, but you get to choose. And that's what we want to see. We want choices to matter. And this is a very simple way of doing that.
Oh yeah, Mass Effect 3 was very much known for making your choices matter. Mm-hmm.
Oh boy. Yes, sir. Okay.
Affect my gameplay. Childhood hero, key life event, why Night City? I mean, couldn't there be the option to choose one instead? I mean, couldn't we start off with like a stat system? Why not?
Why do we get 3? Why not 1, guys? Like, come on. Jesus.
He's complaining that they put effort into detail. He's complaining.
There's so many options. This why 3? Why 4? It's like, guy, come on.
Well, it's because like I was saying, when you have a DM, you have almost infinite amount of options, or you're limited to your imagination. But a video game, you have to script it, and the more diverging paths you have, right, and the more diverging paths you have, the more you have to write, which means the more you have to code, which means the more you have to do. So limiting it to 3 options is a way of creating a characterization through and replayability through just slight alterations. What I was going to say on the matter was that Fallout 4 was
you can have as well, because you can pick any 3 of these different ways to have different combinations, 9 different combinations.
So in Fallout 4, people were upset because you only had 2 options. You were either the male who was a soldier or the female who was a lawyer or whatever, and therefore you role played them. Whereas in New Vegas, the courier could be anybody because you don't know the courier's backstory. So there's a range of not giving any backstory except for what's immediately relevant to the plot, so that the player can build up the motivation and do whatever they want. And then there's an aspect of role playing a character that's defined in a multiple choice thing. And the reason why this is important is what was it that we were seeing on screen? Like who you're influenced by, I'm pretty sure is going to be the little HUD thing that pops up. Like if you want Keanu to be the guy that's guiding you, then you pick Johnny Silverhand. And then if you want it to be a different person that's beaming their way into your brain, then maybe it's this person. You know what I mean? I think that these decisions that he's like, why are there 3? It's because those are big gameplay replayability options
Just
that
think
will
about
affect
that.
the plot.
Think about that as a game feature. You get to have Keanu Reeves in your head doing something. You could be playing Tetris. I want Keanu in my head telling me, that's a good block. Yeah.
And what's funny is that I'm sure that the Keanu Reeves thing is really interesting, but I'm willing to bet that if there are other characters because of that 3-stage option, I bet those are interesting people too to like replay the entire game as. And I'm hoping, because I think the mark of a good RPG is that you play it on one style and you go, I'm gonna go play lethal mode, or I'm gonna play as a melee character this time, and you have just as much fun in a different way. I'm really hoping that this game is like that, because unlike The Witcher, this game has a character that isn't defined necessarily by the game's story entirely. It's also defined by player choices, which I think is something that CD Projekt Red hasn't even really gotten into yet, which I'm excited for.
And The Witcher was a murder machine for monsters, but you didn't have to kill every monster you came across. There was always that sort of, well, not always, but there was always the opportunity to say, okay, I don't want to fight this thing. I'm not going to kill the dragon. I'm not going to do this over here. But more often than not, you had to kill the monster. So if you have the option to be a street samurai or a hacker, obviously I'm assuming hacking doesn't involve frying someone's brain and leaving them for dead. It just means disabling and bypassing. So that might be nice to see the non-lethal playthrough. I always love watching the non-lethal zero takedowns from the Deus Ex guys online, because that takes skill. Like, you can't pick up any guns. Your inventory is really, you have a crossbow that takes up all your inventory. So there's all these weapons you can't use, and you're sort of pigeonholing your gameplay, all for the purpose of getting that, either I think it's the trophy at the end. I can't remember what you get out of it, but the fact that you're able to do that. The same with Metal Gear Solid games. You don't want to kill anyone. It's such a challenge. Like, it's an internal. There's nothing specific about it. I think they might have had some different dialogue options at the end of the first game of Deus Ex. That, oh, you didn't hurt anyone or you didn't kill anyone. That's impressive. But it was just a minor touch. And if they had more of that, if they showcased, oh, you killed no one this entire hour, that's amazing. So it showcases the virtue and the skill of the player within the story world, which is exactly what you want. You want to have reaction from the input and very controlled, skilled gameplay from the user who wants to play a certain way. I think that's one of the best things you can do in a game, to get feedback from your style of gameplay.
Somebody was saying in chat that there's only going to be Keanu as one of the things, but I find that interesting because he is a childhood hero player character choice. I find it interesting if he was a character that was just like in your brain or whatever it is, or in your cybernetic augments giving you commands. If there's an alignment thing that has to do with Silverhand versus Morgan and the corporate dude, I would be very surprised if he was the only motion capture actor that recorded lines that served that purpose in the game. It doesn't seem like, if you chose to be against the Rock Boys or Rocker Boys or whatever group and their idealism, it doesn't make sense why he would still be in your head. I feel like that's a choice.
I think within the lore of the Cyberpunk world, it's probably going to have a heavy influence on Silverhand, and whatever plot that they're in will be his and his alone. So it either could be a section of the game or it'll be the whole game. I don't think they would do that with everyone. It would be interesting, but it would also limit the role of that character, because then they're all doing the same role. So it's kind of like an ersatz hero character, like having I'm trying to think of another Avatar character. You just pick any hero character, like Shepard from Mass Effect. Imagine it's another Shepard, but it's like some other military guy. It's like, okay, yeah, I guess there's another N7 lying around somewhere, and he can do the same stuff. So you probably don't want to go that route. You'd be recording a heck of a lot more audio. It would be very easy, though, because he's not a fully fleshed model. He's not running through collision detection. He's not doing all these other things that interact with the universe. It's just a voice in your head. So it could work if it's just speech. Like when you think of Rene Auberjois, who did the voice of Mr. House in New Vegas. Like, you could technically have another voice in your head like that. That would work.
What I'm curious about is that if, like, okay, you know, I see people saying Keanu Reeves, you know, he has the most lines in the game and all that stuff, and obviously he's the big money ticket, so you do want to have him in your head as the AI chip the whole game. But I'd be very surprised if the childhood hero wasn't the AI chip in your head, that it wasn't split between 3 different characters, and they're only just revealing one side of it right now. If it was just Keanu the whole time, I find that to be a conflict of choosing your childhood hero. Then maybe it'd be he's trying to change your mind, but again, that seems to take away from player choice. I want to believe that they're keeping that in, you know, the 2 other characters in the pocket, but I'm not sure. I don't know.
Here's a super chat from DBDU5L. Thank you again. Time to subvert expectations for anyone who doesn't know anything about the character of Johnny. The regulars will be in shock. He is not like Keanu. I think I imagined a guy who wants to watch the city burn is not going to be our Keanu. That's true, yeah. Please comment.
I know he's part of the main story, Ken. I don't understand why. What's the evidence that what I'm saying is not true? That there's not other characters that could be in the same role based on your childhood hero.
So I'm
status.
getting a request to comment on the nearly verbatim plot of characters stolen from Babylon 5 by Mass Effect. I would have to actually look at every character's plot and see how they line up. That would take some time. So that's not just an off-the-cuff thing. Even though I know the characters from both series, I would need to take a few hours to think about that, list them all out. But that's just a question in chat, and I don't have to do it. So thank you anyway.
When you progress through the game, you level up and you can upgrade your character, but then you limit the amount of upgrades that someone can have. Some people may think, dude, I just want to upgrade my character and be like the Terminator.
I'll be back.
I get that, okay? Hear me out for a second, okay? Maybe the game requires you to do a mission in stealth or assault. Then you could change those upgrades to suit that type of playstyle for that level.
We'll take a reflex booster.
No one is saying that wouldn't be how it works anyway.
This is charisma.
I'm not quite understanding his argument here.
I don't understand the argument, because he was talking about RPG choice from a character backstory, and then he went into how you upgrade your character, which are 2 different subjects, and he has to prove that the way he's explained it is definitely not the way they're going to do it, which is not in relation to how you pick your character backstory.
And he's relating it to gameplay, meaning stats and abilities, not character creation.
Yeah, exactly.
So what you're saying is that anyone can have access to this drug, so why don't the bad guys have it then? I mean, wouldn't it make the game more difficult?
Okay, so he's talking about modifiers to characters. We see that in New Vegas. We see that in all kinds of the Obsidian games, Skyrim. People have food and drugs and drinks, and that affects their stats. So yes, they would be affected by that, as would other. That's the logical connection. I don't think the designers would omit that from enemies. So it's possible, but there's no.
It'd probably be good to make the enemies more varied as well if you can give them certain boosts and stats.
Oh yeah, I mean all the enemies have their own clan, and they all have their own gear. They all have their own fighting style, their own bullets, level of tech.
It'd be real easy to do. Some enemies have the ability to see you through certain barriers and walls. Some of them have like temporary energy riot shields they can produce. I don't know. You can do anything with this. I did not create the game, so I can't know, and neither can he.
Mm-hmm. As I haven't really been following Cyberpunk, it seems more like a game that I'm not going to get when it comes out. I'm more going to wait till it's on sale because I don't have money. But
well,
there's not enough to say right now.
You don't have the computer to handle it probably. Just no offense.
No, I have a computer that can handle it properly. This shit does rendering very fast.
It'll play it at 24 FPS.
I can render fucking 8K ambient occlusion in like fucking a couple of seconds, maybe a minute.
What are you running, a Quadro or something?
It's a 12 core, and I can't remember the fucking graphics card right now. I built it earlier this year, and it's fucking great.
Only 12 cores? No, I'm just kidding.
Only 12? I have fucking 250.
I run a server rack, overclocked.
That's my computer. My computer's just a server rack.
It's a quantum mechanics computer that tunnels to the future and downloads new memory from the past.
And occasionally I use it to play Pong.
And it still doesn't run Cyberpunk.
I think
I'm really happy with this computer because not only is it really good for just doing my visual effects and doing my stuff a lot more faster than it would have been on my old PC, but it runs games so fantastically. I've never been able to run games on the most ultimate graphic modes, especially ones which came out very much recently, and it is gorgeous.
but it's still
We're all about to
Crisis
get-
2, so
Get excited for all of the new stupid ass graphic additions that they're going to put in the games. Did you see how they're running the Unreal 5 tech demo for the PS4 was running at 1440p at 30 FPS with no ray tracing?
yeah, but that was
oh shit.
that was pre-rendered. There's no way. It was real time.
Well, it's just it didn't look that impressive. But what's funny to me is that it uses a technique called photogrammetry, which is a really efficient way to map out 3D and record it from real world spaces. But the problem that we have now is that the engines are not built for so many of these layers to be added on top. Like here's the Fong and the bump map and the normal map, and it's all on top of each other. There's not an efficient way to do all these mathematical calculations in real time.
Yeah,
because they haven't optimized it.
They weren't using light maps there, I believe. So whatever they were doing was different.
Exactly.
But
don't get me started about baking light maps. I hate them.
We need to have a shiny
shiny rant about why you don't use light maps, at least in Unity.
Yeah, we should get into that sometime. But as far as what he's saying here, I don't understand how he's using past tense for a game that hasn't even come out yet.
Mm-hmm. Just before we move on from my little tangent, I recently played Half-Life Alyx because I'm one of the luckiest people to have a VR headset, and oh my god, that game on Ultimate is fucking. It is so great to have just to play, and the graphics are amazing. It's so immersive.
Let's continue.
Sponsored by Half-Life Alyx.
I wish.
Valve, fucking sponsor us.
Valve does not have an affiliate program, so I don't think it's possible.
Yeah. Valve, just send us an index kit and we'll do it.
I'd be happy.
Yeah, sponsor us with indexes.
Yeah.
Give us 4.
Here's Mad Courier 6. Thank you, sir. Hey, Smud finally cut a live stream for once. That's what you wanted to tell me. Okay. Well,
hey, look. It's just someone in the fucking chat. Look, VR is already amazing right now. I don't know what the fuck you're on about. Also, yeah, privileged goggles. I only got them for through I got them on offer for about 300 quid. It's the Oculus Rift S, and I saved up money for a trip to America, which I then didn't need anymore. So I wasn't going there again. So I thought, oh look, something that could cheer me up. Goggles.
Goggles.
The
biggest problem, obviously, with VR is just movement, because your brain is having to mitigate moving forward with a analog stick like old school video games when you really want to walk, but you can't because there's no 3D. There's no 3D multi-directional trackpad that you can walk on or something.
Some people prefer the teleportation system, but personally, I find the joysticks perfectly fine. It doesn't give me VR motion sickness at all. It might just be that I'm used to it because I've been playing VR for the last 7 months, but for me, it works perfectly fine. It's great.
I've actually met modelers and animators who do get dizzy with certain games, and it's because of the flat screen. Mm-hmm. When they used VR, their brain isn't confusing. It's not because they only have one perspective. It's not 2D panel.
There's one. Sorry, go on. I was just saying, there's one game system, not game system, but one game bothered me. There's this Counter-Strike ripoff for I don't know what it's called, but it's on VR, and There's no
Pavlov.
forward direction. Pavlov, that's right. I was going to say Tarkov. Pavlov, when you have to like shift to like move in a different direction, and I would get motion sickness because it was so jarring the way that I was supposed to move in it. And then when I played what is it, Arizona Sunshine or whatever it's called, and you were just teleporting around, it felt like the challenge was lesser. So there's a lot of subtle issues that that VR has that needs to be worked out, like trying to use two-handed weapons where you're lining up both of the controllers when they don't really line up with each other. It is, and gun triggers not, the sticks not feeling exactly like guns, so it's hard to aim down the iron sights, and like, they're adding in hands and stuff, which is interesting, but there's also no feet, so it's like it's the technological investment, the monetary investment, the lack of physical movement with your feet, so that it's a full immersive experience, means it's not finished yet. But out of all the games I've ever seen, Half-Life Alyx is incredibly put together. I've never seen
works on a lot of the problem. It works on a lot of the problems that people have VR. So things like the best for an IK body I've experienced is, strangely enough, a free game called VR Chat. And it doesn't, because that's mainly because the body just doesn't get in the way. In Boneworks, we're going to need a fucking VR stream. In Boneworks, when you like try to do stuff, like the body just gets in the way all the time. Like you're trying to fucking punch them with a crowbar, and your elbow's getting in the way. But I like that. I think the two ways to go if you're doing an like VR for immersion, you do go Half-Life Alyx and you just do the hands. Or you a
real thing, and what I mean by that, I mean a viable screen that when you put on your head doesn't make you want to kill yourself, that kind of thing. I don't really need to do anything other than a mouse and keyboard setup with the goggles, and all I want is to be able to look left and right and lean with the goggles. If I'm sitting at my desk and I'm playing what is essentially like, imagine instead of I still have this screen, in front of me, but I have my goggles on. And it just allows me to look left and right in a video game, but I still control the mouse and the FPS part, like the aiming with a mouse and keyboard. I think that'd be very interesting. And if you apply that to racing games and to flying games, then you might have a nice intermediary between VR and regular that doesn't have the problems of movement, doesn't have the problems of collision or whatever, because you're still running a traditional game. It's just you've unlocked how you can look left and right. So I can, if I'm playing Call of Duty and I don't want to turn the mouse to look left and adjust my aim, just like in real life, how when I'm playing paintball or whatever, I can literally just look left and see if there's somebody, look right to see if there's somebody, look behind me, but I'm still aiming in the same spot, which is what I've always wanted from a regular first-person shooter. All the other extra VR shit, it's not the same category, but I really want semi-VR so that I can, look around a corner and have my head pop out, but I'm still standing with my character in the same way.
I very much disagree. I can't play VR sitting down. I love the motion controllers. I love being able to, walk over here, pick this thing up, or reach down, or just walk around in the play space. That is so much better than sitting down for me. And I've never had any problem with the motions or the touch controls. I don't know why that's not a problem for me and why it's a problem for some other people. I think it's just based on like person to person, because some people are car sick, some people are not, some people are seasick. It depends on the person themselves. But I've never had a problem with it, and I just couldn't imagine playing a VR game sitting down.
My favorite VR game to play. Well, this is what I'm saying. I'm saying don't make it a VR game. Just add unlock head movement so that I can. It's like Arma has this ability. If you hold down Alt and you use the mouse, your gun will stay in the same position, but the screen moves. But if I don't have to press Alt and move the mouse and keyboard, I can just move my headset or whatever to the left and the right and scan. And then if I don't like the idea of
playing with a keyboard, playing VR.
I know, but here's the thing: is what I'm saying is that when I've played VR, my favorite experience was Super Hot, where they keep you locked in one position so that you can move, left or right or wherever you've set up the sensors. But there's no extra movement other than that, so you don't have to worry about the fact that you're going to run into a wall, or that you're going to need to use a teleporter, or that you need to use a stick to move, which is, to me, breaking the immersion of being in a virtual world. I always thought
If
that
you are
it's
sitting
more-
down, though, isn't that having a similar effect? And if you're talking about motion sickness, then wouldn't you have a similar problem when using WASD sitting down with a keyboard and
No,
mouse?
I've only gotten motion sickness when the only way for me to I've only gotten motion sickness when my brain was confused between in Pavlov. Every other game I didn't get motion sickness.
Okay.
So it was just Pavlov's movement system where you have to turn your body physically to point at something and then go forward. That was really odd.
You shouldn't have to worry about going to a wall because I think a lot of the modern systems have guidance lines, which when you go too close to them, they illuminate like the Oculus does. If you go too close to a wall you've established as a wall, it will tell you, "Hey, look, you're about to walk into this thing."
Oh no, yeah, I know. They have the little blue things. If you look down
Mhm.
on the headset, you can see it. But what I'm suggesting is that the inherent limitations of movement in the virtual environment, because I've seen the Omni treadmill thing where it's like
I don't like that. I don't like the idea.
it's not good. It's not a good solution.
No.
But the problem is that there isn't really a solution necessarily, unless you had some sort of omnidirectional treadmill that you could walk on. So what I'm suggesting here with my idea is not VR specific games with VR whatever. It's just adding an unlocked head movement aspect to regular first person shooters or to
I think that's just incredibly limiting though. Like there's so much more you could do with VR. And again, what
hold
is
on. What I'm saying,
like
Shiny, is it's not VR. I'm not saying make VR. What I'm saying is if you have a VR setting for Ace Combat, or you have a VR setting for what's the driving simulators people play, like a Forza game or something, you're still sitting in one place. You don't actually need the movement, but what it does is it gives you the head movement so that you can see things differently. And to me, that would add a new layer of detail to those games. So it's like when people want to jump all the way into VR gaming. I have a friend who actually works now. He's working on the Twin Peaks VR game. And he's all about VR inclusion completely. But for me, I'm looking for ways to augment what already exists. So I don't want it to seem like, oh, let's not do this, let's go do this. It's just what I'm personally interested in. I would love to play Counter-Strike or Call of Duty or Arma or any of these games where I could turn my head without having to worry about running out of like the edge of my screen. You know what I mean? Because there's no edge to a screen if you have a 3D map to the headset where you can look to the right or up and down and stuff. It's just personally something that I've wanted for a long time. And someone in chat was noticing that like Resident Evil 7's VR on PlayStation is a lot like that. There's already games that are considering the idea that you can be in a 3D environment, but you're still sitting down at the couch or you're sitting at your computer. And so you don't have to do all of the extra VR stuff. And you don't have to worry about mitigation about peripherals, like I was saying about two-handed guns versus one-handed, that kind of stuff.
That like is probably going to be better for some people than others, but I wouldn't enjoy sitting down playing. It's just not enjoyable for me at all.
Well, let me just ask you one thing, because I know we can move on. I'm just curious, would you enjoy more, let's say you're playing Elite Dangerous, right? Would you rather have your joystick set up with a VR headset on, or be looking at a flat panel monitor?
Well, the thing is, when it comes to...
You never get out of the cockpit, by the way. You're always in the cockpit.
Okay, yeah. When it comes to a sit-down game like that, I honestly... I tried doing something similar, which was... me and my friends tried playing... what's it called? No Man's Sky in VR, which is quite similar to that in some respects. I have played Elite Dangerous in the past, and like I tried sitting down, but... And we were all trying to play it in VR, but it just didn't seem to work. And games where you're like kind of sitting in a cockpit like a flight simulator, honestly, I kind of prefer to play it on the PC rather than standing up or sitting there in a cockpit actually pulling all these levers and buttons.
Well, it's just interesting to me because the old style virtual reality cockpits that they used for flight simulator training programs, they had screens that were in each of the windows, And I think that it's a much simpler solution. But I understand what everybody has preferences, and this is honestly, in addition with the technological investment, why there's only like 1% installs on VR. It's why Half-Life Alyx came out as both a product for tech demoing, to see what would happen, and also to try and drum up more sales for it. But I think that it's not defined right now what is possible, what is preferable. All I know is that when I was a kid and I was playing video games, I wanted to be able to look left and right. And the only thing that I could think of besides a big-ass monitor that was like surround sound on me or something like that, like those 3D projection things that they use in movies now, is a virtual reality headset. But I'll let people that actually make the games figure that out and make some sort of hybrid games and make the new VR games, and we'll see where it goes, because it's all, brand new stages. I mean, I remember my dad was working on a project back in the 90s where they were trying to build a chair that had motion capture. No, not like motion capture, but like you're sitting in the chair, and when you lift your right leg up and put it down, your character moves forward. And it's obviously not the greatest idea, because who wants to sit down and raise their legs up and down and move forward? But the idea was that they were trying to integrate that at the time into a virtual reality system. You had the Virtual Boy, which was only 2 graphics colors or whatever. And it's like, we're definitely on our way to seeing what's possible. And it's probable that augmented reality and VR and regular video games will all come together to create a whole new way of looking at things.
I'm still waiting for holodecks. When a holodecks
I've seen some of the Google has certain playrooms where you can have like VR and the room is big enough. Yeah, I've seen that stuff.
I haven't been to them, but I've seen people who have gone to where it's pretty much it's like a cardboard room, or like made of plywood, but when you put the headset on, the headset makes it look like this physical wood which you can reach out and touch. It makes it look like it's a high-tech fucking metallic wall, so you're limited by the space like you would be in real life, and that is actually pretty interesting.
Okay, guys, that's fantastic.
We need a VR stream.
We went from VR to AR, now we're just rambling on about stuff. It's great. I love tech. But let's get back to the game. I think we all agree that VR in Cyberpunk 2077 would suck, and everyone will die in a horrible death, and that will be the end of that. So.
The watchers increased by about 60 people when we started talking about VR.
It jumped up and down, believe me, I was watching.
But have you noticed that we're getting downvoted? I wonder who's doing that.
It's probably the bots. I don't care. It's not a big deal.
Bots.
Here's a super chat from Matt 6. VR the stream. That's pretty much what it's been in the past half hour, but now we're getting back to the wonderful conversation of Cyberpunk 2077, which everyone's excited for, because it is an actual video game and VR is just technology. As cool as both are, they probably won't be coming together anytime soon, because that would take CD Projekt Red years to do that. But
very true.
Yeah, unfortunately. Okay.
Why am I hearing myself? All right. Okay. No. I just realized I was running this stream in the background by accident. We've been spending about an hour and 20 minutes watching 2 minutes of this 4-minute video.
That's just what we do, man.
Okay, and here's Dunn. I didn't even notice Dunn was in the stream. Thank you for joining us, sir. Thank you. Hope everything's great with you.
Oh,
he's here. I can see him. He's here.
He's here,
Mr. Dunn. You're mumbling, but we got you. We know you're there. Okay,
hello there.
He'll be back in greater numbers.
Maybe he's busy working away. He's probably typing up a storm, and he's like, people talking, distractions, never mind them. He's got work to do. Okay. And we have work to do as well.
I wouldn't call this work. I would call it pointing and laughing.
That's a good point too, but it's part of the fun.
Well, if this is work, then fucking pay me.
Okay.
Is this better?
Yeah, that works.
Lovely.
Hello, Dunn. Welcome.
Again, if this is work, I'll do this for a fucking living.
Oh dear.
An
endless stream.
I'm gonna
look like a fucking 2-minute video.
You're gonna develop a Canadian.
It's gonna read them. This can be a read on my tombstone. Loving father, community organizer, shit talked chat on stream.
Trusted and esteemed colleague.
That's the podcast, man. That's done. That's going to be the podcast name that I make. It's not going to be the Glib Show. It's going to be the esteemed and trusted colleague cast.
Where we eat
All right,
ridiculous foods. Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, I love it. Let's get back to this stupid ass video.
Here we go. That's why we're here.
With the scanner, we can zoom in on things and take a closer look.
See now, Corvo had that mask. It did the exact same thing. You could zoom in whenever you put it on.
Yes, many games have zoom-in features as a gameplay mechanic. It's nothing special, but
Look,
Don't
they're
you-
driving cars. They do that in GTA.
It's something to be. It's a bare minimum. It's to be expected.
Hey, look.
Just like good.
Hey, look,
CGI.
they have guns. Oh, look, they have guns in every other game. It's not new.
What is this, Call of Duty? A shooty?
It means it can't be good because it's already been done before. This is all the game's gonna be. All the game's gonna be is fucking zooming in, apparently.
well, in this exact
The car-
screenshot, it looks like he's running along the street in first-person mode. After a car.
No, I think you can see somewhat of a car. Like, you can see like the front of a car on the current frame, or at least what I assume
Yeah,
is the
he's-
front of a car.
Yeah, he's on a car. I wish you could run that fast, though.
Fucking Flash.
With a gun.
Yeah, I'm very curious. This seems like it could be a disingenuous video, just like for comedy's sake.
Oh, for disingenuous, you say?
I mean,
Wow, they
I
have
don't know anything about this
zoom-in
channel.
features with the lens. It's like, wow, it's so unoriginal. Like, yeah, I know.
I think we got rid of it. That was intense.
You call that intense? All right, okay, look, listen. I've had poops more intense than that, okay? Yeah?
I think we can all agree that as amazing as the visuals and audio and whatever was seen was there, we've all had some pretty intense bowel movements. So, it's kind of expected to be alive at this point in time that not everything you eat goes down smoothly. But,
I mean, this video is a bit of a bowel movement.
yeah, that's true. But, maybe he has a point. He's gonna express a point. We're gonna go, okay, let's evaluate your opinion, sir. Let's keep going.
You see, he's got little icons about what the quest is going to do. That's been done before.
Oh, it has a map system and a quest system? Wow, that's...
You see, it has a city in the background. That was done by Arkham Games.
Video
That is
games
the
have
background.
dialogue before.
Cyberpunk's
see-
gonna fail because they got guns and it's not interesting. Whoa!
Just look at
They
that.
have guns, and they have car chases, and they have, customizable backgrounds.
Just look at that scene, though. Look at the wall. Look at the cracks in the... Like, everything looks amazing. Like, it's just beautiful.
Look at the detail on that man's crotch. 10 times the detail.
Oh, no.
Zoom in on the crotch.
It's Cyberpunk 2076. That's what it is. Am I the only one who got that joke? Oh, come on.
Sorry, I was
Crickets.
distracted.
Sorry.
I would have laughed. I was distracted by Dunn.
Yeah. Dunn always distracting us all with his charming good looks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anyway,
Hey, that's my job, my beautiful helmet.
well, you're too blinding, Johnny. I know you're beautiful. I just can't see you half the time. But look at the car. It's beautiful. Everything
it's
in this
like-
shot is beautiful. Everything about
It's
this
like
game.
looking into the sun. No, you just can't look at it too long. Or it's like from the SpongeBob movie where he takes off his crown and everyone's like, bald, bald.
I don't know. I feel like this is like a troll video. It's good fodder to like think about how the game's going to be good. I mean, it's like an inverse advertisement. But man,
Yeah.
I really don't think that it's much harder to get people hyped up for a video game other than just show that. Like, oh yeah, you can go around, you shoot, and then it dumps you out into the game world again, and then you can go out and do whatever you want. It sounds awesome to me.
Like this car is like a cross between a Mustang and like Kit. It's amazing. I just want to get in there.
Yeah.
I have to say the designs look very interesting. Like just the look and the feel of the world looks extremely interesting.
I feel
The
like
design of the car, just a random guy there who's just sitting with whatever the fuck there's on the table. Looks like maybe a drone for who the fuck knows.
I think it's interesting that they advertise the game during the daytime, and I wonder if they're just keeping like the nighttime atmosphere undercover, because most Cyberpunk games and stuff, they show off the neon stuff. It looks better at night.
Oh yeah.
But I wonder if that's a tactical choice, because I feel like they haven't really been revealing all of their hands yet. That's one of the major things that I've noticed about this. They've been recursive a lot. They've been showing only particular parts of the city. They haven't revealed the whole scheme of or scope of the game unless it's just the city. And I don't believe that. I don't know that. You know, and if it was, I wonder how detailed it is. So many
10
questions.
times detail.
16 times the dong size. Let's keep going.
You really want to sell this game? Add some music to it. Add some music to the car chases. That's how you make it more intense. Okay, now compare that to this.
That just seemed like a non-criticism. Like,
I think we got rid of it. That was intense.
Do you see the difference?
I mean, maybe there is music.
yeah,
Maybe there's like a radio you can put on in the car. How does he know?
The thing is, like, when it comes to gameplay experiences, it's much different to like watch the game than it is to play the game. So you can like watch Markiplier play Alien Isolation, and you laugh at him. You think, how the fuck is that so scary? You know, he's just there and he's screaming. You play Alien Isolation for yourself, and oh my god, that thing is fucking terrifying. That made me terrified of xenomorphs, and it actually got me into the Aliens franchise, because the Alien Isolation is just that good of a game.
Well, I do appreciate his opinion that adding music to a scene does elevate it. I'm quite sure that's pretty universal. But this was a tech demo, I think, or a gameplay demo that was 40, 50 minutes long. You don't expect that level of polish just yet. So yeah, I'd say he's correct that adding action-packed theme to anything will make it more exciting, but we expect music anyway. We expect radio. There's radio stations in the game, I'm quite sure about that. So it could be like a GTA thing where you're listening to classical music and it's like a sonata, a nice soft violin concerto, and you're blowing away some guy with a shotgun in the car. So the exact opposite of exciting, which is kind of cute. But
It's also
There's only 1 minute 40 seconds left. How fast can we get through this? Let's go.
You could be like, you could play any music that you want while playing video games. I mean, how many people have done that? I've even, you know, like, it's heretical, but I remember playing Doom 2016 and turning off the Doom soundtrack from that, even though it's amazing, just so I could go and listen to the Doom soundtrack remastered from the 1993 version. It's like people are just, you know, not creative, I guess.
So some people like are probably gonna fucking like burn me at the stake for this, but I often, like, while I'm playing it very relaxed and this is a game I've already played, I'll often just turn the music off just to play my own. Like that, like especially when it's a strategy game, like let's say Empire at War or just Civilization. Just name a few, just off the top of my head.
Battlefield Middle-earth is an example.
Just any, like, even though it's got good like sound design, I'll just turn it off. It's like, often I'm watching a video or I'm playing music or I'm just doing something else and the music gets in the way.
I like turning off the Duel of the Fates at the end of the Phantom Menace and replacing it with that Star Trek music, the battle music, the
Didn't they do a remastered of that for the Star Trek video game?
Really?
I think
they
did.
They've done a bunch of versions of that.
Because they brought back the Gorn in the video game, which was it was kind of a little bit tied into Darkness. It was a shit game.
Here's a super chat from our producer, Punish Berserker. Thank you, sir. You can either watch Markiplier or you can laugh. You cannot do both. Oh, Markiplier. I'm sure you laugh sometimes with he's giggling. You laugh with him. It's possible. It's not completely...
It's also entirely possible that what he failed to mention in this is that they probably turned the music off. Because, you know, that is an option. You can raise the sound effects volume, you can raise the voiceover volume, you can raise the background music volume, or you can turn it all off completely depending on the experience you want.
I think we've already kind of beaten this to death with the music.
And here's another super chat from
This
Zach.
point, we're crushing a dead rat.
I'm not sure what Zach's trying to say here. Zach, that is a major 27 days. I don't know what 27 days is referring to. What exactly is that? Is that reference, Zach? I'm kind of.
It's probably not 27 Days of Night, since that's the wrong title.
Is the title of a film? A title of a game? What is it?
I know there's a.
Is that a video game?
Is there a release date that month? I don't know. Oh, The Last of Us 2. Is that the release date? I actually don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
To say the least.
It's gonna be something. It's gonna sell. It's gonna do well. We all know it. But
it's gonna be intellectually bankrupt.
The reviews are gonna come pretty hard, I think.
Yeah.
We're gonna see who's the fanboy and who's the actual real critic out there. So.
Yeah.
Oh, I know we're not going to a tangent about VR, but one thing which is pretty interesting is that the Half-Life Alyx game, they've recently released Workshop, and it's going to be really fucking interesting to see what people do with the Source 2 engine. It's going to be so much fucking cool stuff. Like, already, within the first hour or couple hours of the thing being released, someone already added lightsabers. They didn't work properly, but there were still lightsabers.
Wait a minute, that's illegal.
I will make it legal.
Is that
just your opinion?
Legal?
That's just your opinion.
I will make it legal.
Execute order. Play the video.
Oh, yeah. Here's another super chat from Zach. That is a major. You don't know who Zach is? He's the guy who made us watch Sharknadoes, just so you guys don't remember.
Zach, I will find you and I will destroy you.
No, I'm just kidding.
I will fucking murder his face.
His super
chat. 66 fucking kill that man.
Here's a super chat saying, "Dread it, run from it. Sharknado arrives all the same." Is that the in-lore universe of Sharknado? Like some date?
No, that's Thanos.
Dread it, run from it. You'll
never
fucking escape.
See, I'm not a Marvel fanboy. I don't know these things. Thank you very much for filling me in there.
Oh, you didn't get the reference?
No.
Oh. Wow, that was unexpected.
You know how we had that...
it really wasn't a welcome one.
You know, we covered that other YouTuber who was accusing us of we watch too much Marvel films. There's nothing... We can't use genre and all that other crap. It's like... What the hell is this guy talking about? I don't watch Marvel films.
Yeah, I don't even really watch the MCU unless I'm discussing it.
I still get references. I'm not fucking that much of a... I'm not going to say...
Of a smud?
Yeah, I'm not that much of a J.
Listen, I'm not going to waste my time reading actual literature. I got MCU stuff to do.
Reading the
We've got a devil
classics.
for that.
What's that?
It's a couple of interesting ideas, but...
Like, we don't need to read literature. We've got a devil for that stuff.
Yeah. I mostly
We've got a devil
studying the bad world building of Black Panther in order to kind of say, okay, how can I fix this?
You know what's funny? Was that actually a Marvel reference, Shiny? We have a Hulk. We have a devil.
It wasn't trying to be, but I'll just pass it off as yes.
All right.
I'll just go back to
my... let's get to the end of this
my reading of
troll video.
Old White Dead Guys, because, you know, I'm a racist and a sexist, and, you know...
Just go. Just go.
I can't. Zach is still hitting me up. I got to keep replying. Zach, that is a measure.
No.
You said a
God
month,
damn it.
And I'm holding you to it. A month of what, sir? I think we were done with our contract of watching some sort of movie that I've sort of forgotten about. And I think I'm purging it from my mind as much as possible. So,
God damn it, more super chats.
Stop!
At last,
Stop giving
the
us
super
money.
chats will take over the chat.
Tyler
giving Spud money.
Preston.
Stop it.
Here we go. I tried watching. Oh my God, sir! Oh, this sentence just curled. Oh, I tried watching Saint and Taxon's response to the Smudcast. I know it's out there. I don't know why you did that to you, but you did. It's nothing.
Okay, look.
Stop pausing, rewind. You don't understand what I'm saying, you idiots. Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, of course.
It's something like that. Yeah.
I didn't watch that because I know at this point I used to watch it from the external perspective, like, oh yeah, Mahler versus Jack Saint. I want to see this debate and stuff, and then being in it and seeing them respond. Dunn, by the way, put your fucking candy wrapper down.
Sorry.
Okay. So anyway, the thing is that these debates are not going to produce anything. You watch their response videos, and it's like they're not making substantial arguments that are based on anything other than this central point that they try to present, which is that, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. It's all subjective. You can't really learn anything. Negation of knowledge, negation of intellectualism, negation of all that, while at the same time having the arrogance to assume that we're beneath them. And then at the same time, assuming that we're arrogant enough to think that we're better than them. So it's like this really convoluted logical thing. I remember looking at the comments, and somebody was saying, like complaining about me specifically. Not they weren't complaining about me, but I knew they were talking about me because I was doing this. I keep confusing because in my head, Eric Taxon is registered. It was harder for me to re-register Patricia into my head. One of the reasons is because almost nobody I've ever met has the name Patricia. The only other Patricia I know is Patricia Hernandez from Kotaku, who wrote those stupid whatever diatribes on white supremacy in video games and stuff. But they were upset that we were using the name Taxon to describe a person. Like, how if we can't use a surname to describe somebody, which is applicable and not dead naming, but they want to assume that it's dead naming, there's no good faith. It's just they want to get rid of us and our voices from the conversation because they assume that reality works on this level where if we talk about things this way and we all agree about things this way, then reality will proceed this way. And that's not how things work. That's how cults work.
I just want to point out that, the president of the United States is often referred to as Trump by his last name, not his first name. So if it's okay to refer to him by his last name, why can't we call Taxon by his last name?
Oh, you did it again. See, you did it. You did it again. And then what they do is they go, oh my God. So what you're assuming is that only people that present as passing as trans, and you're saying this person's not presenting, which is why you're dead naming. They create all these rules, and I go, all I want to say is, I don't care. That's your problem. It's not my problem.
Is like
all of your opinions are your problem. They have nothing. I don't have to. Hold on, sorry, just Shiny. Shiny. Let me just finish this because I really want to make this statement. Anything that I say, I'm entitled to it. It's my opinion. It's not hate speech. It's what I'm thinking. It's what I want to talk about. And if you're going to criticize my statements. Don't attack my personality because you really don't know me. You really don't know my opinions. You only know what I say, and everything else is assumption based on that. You have no idea. I'm Glib Facsimile, man. I have a lot of different layers to this shit. So I'm sick of that response. But that's why we only engage with people that actually are interested in engaging. We're not going to engage Pawn Story Games because he's invented this troll mood, because he's upset that he got a bunch of downvotes on his videos that were made in earnest, and now he's playing a troll character. We're not. This is a little bit more serious and more. We're the esteemed and trusted colleagues. We're not here to mess around.
I've been waiting to fucking say something about that. But that was a long tangent. So just that I honestly don't care about like their gender, which is why I keep accidentally messing it up. And again, it's confusing for me. Like, okay, so I hear a male voice. I want to say it's just natural that I say he, but the thing is, like, I have to bend over backwards, say, "Look, I'm sorry. Okay, look, she. There we go." Fixed it. Now I'm not going to be called at least I hope I'm not. But I'm actually interested to see what they. I jumped in because I was there with LiteratureDevil, and LiteratureDevil, we were just chatting, and we both just kind of hopped in to watch at the same time. And when I hopped in to watch, like, it was very strange, like, almost immediately. I don't know who the lady was. Who was watching as well, but she was actually the fairest one. Like, she actually tried to give us some like the better interpretation of like what they were saying our words were, and I just kind of after that I remember I wrote it in the fucking Smudcast DM, but I can't remember what I was talking, what they said, what I was talking about. Oh, that was it. Now I remember. We were talking about how removing. So it was to do with Game of Thrones, I believe. The part where they remove the visual part of the media. It's so dark you can't see anything. And we were saying, that's important in a visual media that you were able to see things. And they tried to say that as if that it's bad to remove, it's like say, oh, you're giving the audience less information. It's just bad. And they brought up like Alien. They brought up The Lion King, where you see the reaction of Simba's face rather than the gruesome death. And it's like, no, that's not what we're talking about at all. You're still seeing something visually in that visual medium. And they were trying to say things like, oh, that means that they think radio dramas are bad because you can't see what's going on. It's like, no, it's a visual medium. That's what we're talking about. And we're talking about a visual medium here, which you see visually. And even in the cases you brought up, we can still see things, but we just don't see everything. There's a difference between not being able to see anything in a visual media and limiting what you can see. But I am interested if to like know what they thought of, like, kind of. I don't know who else was on the. I don't know if Voice, that was probably too early for you, and they probably know.
Definitely.
They probably it was too early for you, Dunn, I think. But I'm like just me, like, because they would have never seen me before. I'm kind of interested if I'm almost immediately just painted as this, that, or the other, or if they say anything about me. Not that I'd taken to heart if they did say anything about me. I'm just interested to know if they did.
Damn, and you said Glib's tangent was long.
Guys, I got to catch up on super chats and questions. You're going to be here for another hour if that's the case, okay?
Well, you're on.
Nothing better to do.
You're on the Thanos one, right?
Yeah, I got a few. Punished Berserker's got one. All you need to know about Thanos is that he wiped out half of all life in the universe, so he could fook death, and she turned him down for Deadpool.
That is the comic book version of it, and I honestly like that more. But I think that they realized in the MCU that would confuse people, and they didn't have access to Deadpool.
That was later on in because if I remember reading the Infinity Gauntlet, that was like late 80s or early 90s, and then Deadpool was introduced later. So,
and it's crazy. It's really crazy.
Here's a question from Mr. A. This is not a super chat, but it is something I care about. Would you say The Hound of Baskervilles and The Valley of Fear is a good intro to Sherlock Holmes novels? I would say not so much.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I would say no.
Yes, I would agree.
Because
you wouldn't say no, not to The Hound of the Baskervilles?
No, I did not like The Hound of the Baskervilles. The plot was very basic. If you want an intro to detective fiction in general, yes, that is fine. It's very basic. But to Sherlock, it is one of the worst. It is one of the most boring and plain.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's interesting.
Just read Study in Scarlet. That's probably the best. It's the cleanest.
The first one.
The first one, the very first. And there's one I really like. It's called the Lady with the Yellow Face, I think. That was also very good because we're talking about stories that represent Sherlock, not necessarily the best of detective fiction or this or that. So if you want to learn about Sherlock, read the first one for sure. I like
The Adventure of the Blue Carbuncle.
Yep.
I'm morbidly fascinated by the Aquatic Man story.
Oh, really?
That was really creepy and messed up.
See, this is the kind of tangent that I want to go on.
Well, yeah, I could talk about Sherlock for a while.
Yeah, me too.
Right above me, right here.
Do you know the reason, like, why we have so many fucking tangents? It's because it's much more interesting than fucking this video. It's not interesting to me.
It's also because we get super chats. I mean, the whole reason why other people were brought up was because of the super chat. I wouldn't be talking about it if like any social fucking YouTube shit, that's going to be brought up by somebody else. You know what I mean? Because those are the viewers making connections. I understand what that is, but it's like this. It's the same thing I was saying before. What's really interesting to you after you've been on the internet for this long is like you really want to find the substantial conversation because trolling is everywhere and easy and cheap.
Yeah, agreed.
So I'm obligated to read this super chat. Thank you, Zach. Again, T's a major. Enter super chat message here, and you all use capitals, and I don't know what you're trying to imply here. Are you saying you're not you don't have a message. This is your time to write a message, and I don't know. You're just doing it for fun to tease me, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I imagine he is, since you
Oh.
react so strongly.
Just being reminded, voice. I actually know what would be a really good, because we talk about introducing different countries' foods to each other. Yorkshire puddings. Yorkshire pudding. How did I not think of that?
I've had Yorkshire pudding many times.
Oh,
I haven't yet, so I will try it.
Okay. So Yorkshire pudding.
What about it?
What did you think?
It's totally fine.
No. Okay, that's not good enough.
What do you mean it's not good enough?
So Mr. A has a good one, Smud, that you should read, because I know it's a tangent thing, but I also love detective fiction. So like watching Hercule run around, that's interesting. What other detective fiction would you suggest, Smud?
Well, my favorite is of course Poirot, as you mentioned, Hercule Poirot. I've read the whole canon. There's so many. I would say I actually did this with a friend of mine. We read and watched Cards on the Table, because to me that is the most definitive Poirot. It has a little bit of everything. The puzzle's not too complex. It's not too easy. It's intricate. It's ornate. It involves a lot of different elements. It's different than the show than it is in the book. There's a very slight difference. I would say for average readers or average watchers, it's good. But there's so many. I mean, she does so much. She is the queen. She's the queen of pretty much murder mystery. So whether you're reading Miss Marple or Tommy and Tuppence or her stage plays, her short stories, she's probably the best. But yeah, if you want to start somewhere, start with Sherlock first. Go in chronological order. Do the Trials of Hercule. That's a pretty decent short story book with Hercule Poirot. But Cards on the Table for me, I thought was the best intro, if not the best style of books by her, because when she starts writing in her older age, you can really tell the quality of the mystery is not there. They're still good to read, but they're not as complicated as, let's say, Murder in the Sun or Murder Under the Sun. I think was the most complicated one I ever read. A lot of the ones in Egypt are very good as well. Anytime Egypt is in a setting, it's very good. So, she's amazing. Agatha Christie. I mean, you got to watch her plays. You got to watch her TV shows, BBC Mysteries. Man, fantastic stuff.
Okay. I'll have to give that a watch.
Okay, Punish Berserker again. Glib, I am axing you in this YouTube fanatical video response universe. Doesn't it make sense that you calling Taxon a boy would make him arrogant? Oh boy.
Well, whatever it is, I said immediately in that stream that I never meant to upset anybody because of deadening. I know that's something that they do, so I made that point just as like a self-protection thing, because it's like, let's say that I do make a mistake, I don't want to make the mistake. Are you going to use that against me? And of course they're going to use it against you. Of course.
The common
response. So it's just like, what are you going to do?
The common response from Jack, from myself, even from Patricia, is we're not representing each other fairly. We're never giving each other a fair take. It's like, how much more time?
I would. Yeah.
How much more time do we need?
If I've always known someone to go by the name of Thomas, and then they decide that they now want to be called Clive, if I appreciate the person and respect them, I'm gonna make an effort to try and remember that. But you've got to unlearn. It's like unlearning muscle memory. So you kind of need to expect me to slip up here and there. I'm sorry. Imagine I told you, Glib, are you left-handed or right-handed?
I'm right-handed.
Right. Okay. From now on, I'm telling you, you have to lead every interaction with your left hand.
Right. Exactly.
Are you going to be able to do it flawlessly from the beginning?
No, of course not. Of course, it's going to take me a while to adjust to it, and then
it's a brain thing. It's like I refer to people by nicknames all the time, to the point that I forget their real fucking names because I've just gotten used to calling someone Herms.
I had this.
Let's be honest.
Insane moment where I, because of the the quarantine and stuff, and most of my time people were calling me Glib, I realized that nobody had called me by my real name because I hadn't seen anybody in like weeks.
Oh jeez.
Wow, that's fucking weird, you know. But it's whatever. I don't want to hold up the stream any longer with this bullshit. Let's finish this video off and the super chats.
To be honest, even a lot of us were forgetting the pronouns because we were trying to listen what the hell they were saying, and it was so difficult that we were just focused on what the words. And then even I get accused of not listening properly because we pause so many times, and I have these long chats in the comments section that I have to reply to because they think I'm belittling, I'm not paying attention. It's like, listen, guys, we can only spend so much time listening to a person who doesn't have the most rational thought process. And if we miss up because our ears hear a man and we say he or whatever, okay, we're guilty. But when you tell us crazy crap that doesn't make any goddamn sense, and we have to have a conversation to make sense of it, it's really tough. And
the thing is, as well, is that what matters is the arguments being made, exactly. And that is what we're focusing on. And we really don't care about the pronouns. We care about the arguments, and that's what we're there to tackle. I honestly made an effort to try and say she rather than he. I did because I wanted to be respectful, but I slept up a few times, and I tried to correct myself the best I could.
It is unreasonable to expect people to adapt right away because you want them to without missing a beat. If I've gone the entire time knowing someone was one name and now that they've changed it and I have to instantly change with it, it's unreasonable to expect I won't slip up. I will do it for your sake if I want to, but you're going to have to be patient.
All right, we got to keep going here, guys. Thanks anyway. I think we can...
Does it really... Just before we move on, does it really matter if you accidentally say he rather than she?
Nothing fucking matters. Nothing matters. Everybody's gonna die. Quit your bitching. Get your life together and fuck off. Anyway,
no, but you accident. Oh, I accidentally said the wrong pronoun. Oh, it's the end of the world. It's like, what's the problem? If someone accidentally called me a she, I was like, okay.
All right, bitch. Let's hold on, woman. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Called me she. Thank you. Do you want to send me nudes? I'm a big old fan of man nudes since I'm definitely a lady and all. Call me Ms.
Everybody.
An elementary school teacher whose husband died under suspicious circumstances.
Call me Sean
All right, that sounds like a Sherlock Holmes mystery right there.
Oh dear.
All right, let's go. Let's keep.
Let's go. Okay. How long we got left?
Mad Courier 6. I'm sorry for turning. Oh, here we go.
Damn it!
Just let me get through, okay? I'm sorry for turning.
Yeah, let him do it.
The anime channel on your Discord in the Ruby channel. You want a Ruby channel? Oh no! A couple of days.
No. He's saying that he was spamming all like he turned it into the Ruby channel.
I don't mind.
And for that, Mad Courier, you should probably be banned permanently. No, I'm just kidding. But how dare you, sir? How dare you?
Like something?
That's why we have those channels. You're free to put exactly the same content in the channel it goes in. I actually really appreciate that. It causes discussion to get going. And when you're passionate about something, that's the best thing you could do is showcase your emotions and thoughts on a topic. So please do that. Keep it going. Put it in all the channels. Obviously, you're not as passionate about everything on all the channels. I don't have too many. No one has filled in the metaphysics channel. I'm pretty sad about that, but that's fine. We're going to have other discussions as well later on, so it's cool. It's totally fine.
I'll be very honest, I don't check the Discord.
Here's a super chat from Punished Berserker again. You guys are going to kill me here. Totally fine is the greatest compliment British food has ever gotten. Well then, totally fine it is.
Hey, look, British food is fucking fantastic. I will die defending fucking fish and chips and Yorkshire puddings.
I will die eating this food.
Pretty much. There we go. That's what I was hoping for. I don't care if it kills me because it will. But
it's bloody brilliant. I love it. England #1.
Yeah.
No, it's better than your fucking burgers.
Wait a second, sir. Wait a second. Ooh, slow down.
real quick, Shiny. What's your favorite drink?
Water.
Okay.
Wow.
So, okay.
No wonder he likes that British food. He hates flavor.
Shiny. In my bed.
Oh.
With a full belly full of water and a and a bowl of Yorkshire pudding in my hand.
How absolutely terrible.
A bowl of pudding. My goodness.
I only say water because I generally I used to drink like fucking Fanta like every day. And, like it got to the point where I was having 2-liter bottles and that's all I was drinking. And then I realized I had to stop drinking that, and I ended up going back to like I just got myself a water bottle and I just started drinking that instead, and it honestly made me feel so much better. So and now I've just got used to drinking water all the time, excluding a couple of drinks here and there.
That's a healthy choice.
Anyway.
That's a good choice there, Shiny.
Yeah.
As delicious as Fanta
the next
is.
punished. Sorry.
Okay, we're gonna keep going.
You the MVP, Punished Berserker.
You're gonna start to get enough super chats that you're gonna have to wait till the end of this stream, just like Geefap.
I don't want to be
At least
popular.
you're getting money.
I don't want to be
getting
popular.
money,
No, I want to get through this thing, guys. Come on.
Yeah, it's only a 4-minute video. Like
Jesus.
Look, we get through the super chats. We don't say anything else. Anyone who presses the pause button is going to get a spoonful of Marmite.
Yeah, but I love Marmite. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, if you like Marmite, we'll give you Vegemite instead.
Okay.
No.
Here's Zach, the Tism Major again. Thoughts on Jeepers Creepers? It's a phenomenal film, and I think it's an underrated masterpiece of horror. Great setting and villain. I've never heard of it. Does anyone know what Jeepers and Creepers is?
Holy shit! We should do a movie night for that then. That sounds like it's a good movie. It's very physical effects style horror, very classical like 80s aesthetics and stuff, and it's definitely worth watching. It's not. I don't know about masterpiece. I don't know, but I would say it's a very competently made film.
It came out in 2001.
Really?
Jeepers Creepers?
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck. I just remembered. I forgot the fucking movie night yesterday. Oh, well. We can sort that another time.
That's when, like, Shiny was born. I don't think he'll remember that one, so... Yeah.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of something else. Maybe I'm making a mistake.
So I wasn't listening. I just I remembered, and I was looking at the fucking movie night thing. It's like, oh, fuck, I forgot. And I jump in all of a sudden, I'm in a different conversation.
Okay. Well, we're getting closer and closer to that play button, so we're going to keep on going here, guys. Another one from Punished Berserker, FMK, ATAT chat, Patty Chan, Movie Bob. What the devil does that mean?
Fuck, marry, kill. I'm not playing that game.
Oh my
Me
goodness,
neither.
what a crazy game. Wow.
Not playing it. I'm not doing it.
Nope. me neither.
Okay.
Just
you know,
because
I'll
you gave
play-
him money
I'll
doesn't
play-
mean I have to do shit.
I'll play kill, and kill. I'll kill ATAT chat. I'll kill Patty, and I'll kill Movie Bob. Does that sound alright?
Shiny confirmed KKK.
Oh,
That you have it.
Oh no!
Well,
Oh, that's gonna get
he's
clipped.
only killing white people. Don't worry. At least I think most of them are white. At least I don't know what AT Chan's ethnicity
well,
is.
we do know that ATAT Chan is married. He has kids. We do know that Movie Bob wants to kill everyone. And I don't know about Patty Chan because no one really does. So that's as close as I'm coming to that one. Okay, one more. Thank you, Punished Berserker. This is the last one, I hope. Okay, Washington State salmon, greater than sign, English haddock.
Fucking fish.
Okay, I'll one up you. How
I'm
about
letting it slide. I'm letting it slide.
How about the transition from rainbow trout to steelhead trout in Ontario? And if you don't know the difference,
Look, I'm letting it slide so we can press the play button, and then no one gets to press the fucking pause
there
button.
we go.
I like
No one
steelhead
gets to
trout.
press the pause
Steelhead
button.
is well.
No.
You got to know your fish.
Shiny. We went off on some pretty large tangents about VR.
I know.
You're
We
not
can't
talking
really
about
tell
VR
people to-
anymore.
No,
We
Listen,
can't tell people.
Fire chat.
We can't make the rules here, man.
No more
Look,
VR
okay,
talk.
I realize we've had tangents because it's taken us so long to cover a fucking 4-minute video.
Well, I don't care. Like, I'm the kind of guy. If I'm not doing this, I'm probably gonna put on a Jay Longbone video or watch It's a Gundam for like 3 hours straight while I do chores. It's like this is what I do all the time. So I like this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, same. I'll pick it too.
I got
It's
ADD,
fun.
man.
I'll be completely honest. I act this way just purely for comedic effect. I don't actually care.
Punish Berserker, can you just like keep some money to yourself?
Does
Goodness.
is he fucking bankrolling this entire
What is
thing?
going on, guys? Please stop. Punish Berserker. Thank you, sir. Shiny's part of the Cool Kids Club. That's cool with a K, kids with a K, and club with a K.
Hilarious. Moving on.
The real reason why I want to get rid of this so we can go through the fucking E.C. Henry awful holograms in Star Trek Picard, just because I wanted to watch that at the beginning, and now I want to fucking watch it at the end.
Okay, what the hell, Glib? What are you doing? Why are you doing this?
Look, Glib doesn't get his fucking his super chat read out. He doesn't get that one.
Let's continue. Come on, guys. We can get through this video, I think, before we die of old age.
Yeah.
Which for me would be really impressive.
I'm just trying to have fun and keep everybody entertained.
Well, I mean, a clone that has like ages twice the speed of a regular human. Or do radios really age? I suppose they've already kind of aged. No one really uses radios apart from in cars. And then
What are you talking about? Sorry.
Before we die of old age, and I said, well, voicing the radio. Radio's age, I suppose. Well, they don't get used anymore.
Shiny,
we've got
just
a
stop.
clone trooper.
Just stop.
Shiny, just stop. God damn it!
What are you doing? Oh, there's more super chats. Please stop, everyone.
All right, we'll just wait till the end. Let's finish the video and we'll just read these at the end. That'll defeat them.
Yeah, I got him tracked. It's okay. We'll just keep going with the video.
Good God.
See now, okay, the arm blades, alright, I find that cool, but it's just a less cooler version of the Deus Ex arm blades. You've just tried...
So again, he's going to another game and he's comparing it, saying, hey, it's not as cool as this. It's like, yeah, every game iterates after itself. We get it. That's how it works.
You know that game that has this thing in? It's like this other game that has this thing in, because...
It's not an argument. It's just pretty much how the entire game industry works, especially software. I think movies in a certain genre do that. It's like, oh, the jump scare. Wow, we first saw that 30 years ago or whatever. Everyone does it now. Why is that? It works. It's effective. People like it. It's very basic.
There's an argument to be made there, but I'm not going to make that argument right now. Why it's not effective, I mean.
Okay, all right. That was just an example. It wasn't the literal interpretation of things that are comparable to the past.
To sell it to us because you could stick to the walls like Spider-Man.
So Spider-Man's bad, apparently? I don't know. I think that'd be pretty cool if you were in the future riding around on the walls. That'd be neat.
Can you actually wall run in this game for like a substantial amount of time? Is that a feature I didn't even notice?
You can, but not very long. No.
That's pretty awesome, though. I love games that you can wall run. That's like one of the things that makes me really just want to play over and over. I love Mirror's Edge and Titanfall.
Okay, I don't know what's going
absolutely
on
love
with
that.
chat, but I'm just like, what the hell? What?
They are. We have convinced them and brainwashed them to give us all their money.
Okay, guys, just honestly stop this. Please stop throwing. What do you? What is? Okay, I'm just gonna hit play. Okay, is that okay with everyone? Okay, good.
Yeah. Play. Keep going. I'm good. This is good.
Between the Maelstrom Ganger and his weapon, this will prevent him from firing.
Right, knowing what weapon they have, that's Batman's thing. So these are things...
Okay, Batman does it. That's great. I mean...
Look, I don't understand why you wouldn't want to integrate things from other games into your game. Doom Eternal has that dash, and every time I did it, I just thought I was playing Tracer. But it's still fun. What's the problem?
Yeah.
Especially when...
Just because something's in something else doesn't mean it's bad.
And you're clinging to walls right now, just like Spider-Man.
Yeah, the guy said
Spider-Man. Oh, what, they have
Spider-Man.
guns? What is this?
He referenced Batman. Like, how is that a bad thing? Why wouldn't you want to be Batman in your game? Why wouldn't you want to have all these abilities of superheroes?
Maybe he's just trolling us and he's like, oh, this is how it's really going to be good. You know what I mean? He's just giving us the reverse. I don't know. Maybe it's good fodder, I guess.
All right, well, let's keep going.
that we've already seen. There's nothing new there. Overall, I'm disappointed in this. Some people may be thinking, whoa, hang on a second, this game actually looks really, really good. I'm disappointed in CD Projekt. What they're trying to do is sell us a game that is a cheap knockoff of all the other games that have come before it. What you're doing is you're literally taking a dump on all those good games that have left a mark in history for us as gamers. Okay, and now you.
Sorry?
I can't tell if he's serious.
Cannot claim that it's
I
a
can't
cheap
tell either.
knockoff, because that would imply that the finances poured into it to recreate these mechanics are less so than the finances that were put into them originally from separate games.
Maybe wait until, the game actually comes out and you can actually see for yourself that it has these mechanics, or if it doesn't have these mechanics. Because if right now your main problem is that you're disappointed that they're not doing more or being more innovative, you don't know how innovative the game is going to be because it hasn't been released yet.
Well, think of a game like Skyrim where you have all these skills and you're saying, oh, this reminds me of that skill from this game, or this reminds me of that ability from that game. It's like, well, yeah, it's a big game. You're supposed to. That's why people buy it. They want to have this big experience.
I'll take a point from our Lord and Savior, fucking Tonald, and
I knew you were going to say Tonald Logue somehow. I just knew it.
He says, well, he references when he's talking about Jedi Fallen Order, is that a lot of the things within Jedi Fallen Order have been done in other games, especially when to do the combat. Is easy top of the head, things like Dark Souls, things like Titanfall. Like they've had these mechanics have been around for a while and been lots of different games, but the mechanics themselves just being used doesn't necessarily mean the game is bad. Does it mean it's a bit derivative? Sure, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because the mechanics themselves have been very well implemented and very well smooth. They mesh very well together, which is where a lot of the work has been gone into. And so just saying that something has been done somewhere else before, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing, because if it's done well, that doesn't really matter. The Witcher is not that innovative in the game design, because there's been games that you've played with swords before that use similar controls. So what? It's still a fantastic game.
That's kind of the point, though, of making a new game. You like that other game so much. Like, oh, we can do that, and we can do it better. We can add this element that they didn't think of. And that's how you get refined experiences. So
we've already gone through this story.
Yeah.
You've got the audacity to try and bring this game to us? You've got a game where you can free roam, get into a car, go wherever you want, and do anything you want. That's literally what GTA is. And you're ripping off content from other games. What you're doing is you're insulting us as gamers. And you literally need to take a step back to the drawing board. First thing that any video game developer needs to do is listen to the gamers. I stress this so much because listen to us first. Ask us what we want. Then
I think everyone wants a Cyberpunk GTA world that's RPG heavy with lots of guns and mods. I think everyone wants that. So
I think everybody wants something different too.
Sure. Details they're in.
Listen, earlier in the conversation, Shiny and I were arguing over VR, do this, do that, and it's like. Okay, so how do you synthesize that two things? Ultimately, the only way to get through the dialectic is try both. Try his way, try my way, find out what you like, and that's what a market is about. So what is this guy suggesting? Where he's saying, ask the gamers what they want. Like, if what he wants is not what I want, then why should he be listened to? I think what I want is better.
People don't always know what they want until it's in front of them. Like, for example, a video game. I never knew I liked strategy video games. I never knew I wanted a strategy video game until I sat down and I played a strategy video game and I absolutely adored it. So you don't necessarily know what you want. Like, yeah, you can have people who discuss things about video games, but it's you just saying, oh, listen to people about what kind of games they want. Yes, do that, but you can't just... That's not the only way you develop a video game, and I'm sure these people have been listening to fans. I'm sure they have been listening.
And that's just the gameplay aspect. I remember when William Gibson saw the demo for Cyberpunk, and he says, "Oh, it's just GTA skinned over with generic 80s retro future." It's like, thanks, guru of all that is Cyberpunk. You're missing the point. So even if you know one thing, it doesn't mean you know the rest of a thing which is coming out. And I don't know everything about Cyberpunk, so there could be stuff in there I'd love to see that I don't even know about.
Yeah, and the other thing is that sometimes what I want is not the best thing for the thing. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I could get into something and then realize it's better than what I thought, or what I wanted was not actually what I really wanted.
Yeah, people could be wrong. Like people who want the Snyder Cut to be released. They can be wrong.
Yeah, exactly. I'm right there with you, because the thing here is like what he's suggesting would take away from all of the aspects of the game. You don't have the GTA aspect. Okay, well then we're not stealing cars then. We're not driving around the city in an open world environment. Take out the Deus Ex arms, well then I guess we can't have blades in your arms. Why not? Doesn't it make sense to hide a blade in your arm if you can do that? I guess not. Yeah. I mean, we have to do something else. It's like this kind of thinking I grew out of when I was like 13 or 14, and I was just trying to be unique, trying to come up with an idea that had never been done before. And then I realized that almost every idea had been done in some fashion, and you could infer, and the audience, honestly, they pick up on it on a very basic level at first glance, so that they're going to relate your content that you create to everything that's come before, which is exactly what this guy is doing. The problem is when you think that that's just automatically a bad thing because you want something to be unique. But unique is not always good, Uranium is pretty unique, and it can kill you.
Yeah. Yeah, it could.
You can come back to us with a demo that we actually like. And that's it for today's video. This has been your boy Roy Shadow. If you like this video, like, comment, and subscribe for more content. Peace.
Interesting how he didn't comment on the difference between the first trailer that he was just showing with the female model getting shot, how it's completely different and completely unexpected from what we were getting.
That would be a better argument to make. Because the thing is about cinematic trailers, while cinematic trailers are absolutely gorgeous, the problem is that they often aren't a very accurate representation of what the game's actually going to be. And one example I will prove, also I'll use as a reference, is Star Wars The Old Republic, the MMO. That had some absolutely fantastic trailers. They looked gorgeous. They were amazing. They did have subtle things towards the classes. However, if you look, the story itself isn't even the same. They advertised sort of the story being advertised. You load into the game and you're instantly told that this is something that happened fucking years ago. This isn't what's happening now. Who moved the timeline back? I think we were close. We pretty much finished the video.
No, it was done. Yeah,
who moved?
We're done. Yeah. There it is. That's what I was looking for. Okay. Yeah, so very strange opinions about a gentleman who probably doesn't understand how games are developed, or only thinks games are games if they're completely new and original and have completely cutting-edge game design elements that apparently, when asked, that is in fact what everyone wants, completely new and everything, when in fact people want things they're familiar with that just happen to be very good. The same stuff they've liked in the past, just more of it. So
I would say things often are best when they introduce the right proportion of something new mixed with what is familiar, and that is quite a successful way to go in a lot of things. Everything from video games to software development
to steakhouses. But I'm not going to make that analogy anymore because it's so obvious. So.
Yeah.
Okay, I think
I love the.
Wait! Can we watch the awful holograms in Star Trek Picard just without pausing?
We can watch
Smut is done.
We can watch it together after the stream. I don't see a problem with that, but not right now. I think we're good. Okay. We'll definitely. I think it's a cool video to watch, so we'll watch it together. But thanks, guys. That was really a diverse, tangential experience regarding all of our comments.
I think it's already.
No, we're not doing it.
No. I pressed the thing. I didn't mean to play it. Sorry.
Oh,
you should do a stream after this.
I'm not messing around with that shit. Yeah, who's gonna watch it? I've only got like 150 subs. Get a fucking 3 people.
All right.
Well, regardless of the video, I think we're all hyped and excited for Cyberpunk. Just on theory alone, what they can do, what they can pull off, how many day one patches they're going to be, how big the file size is going to be, what supercomputer you need to run the thing. It's kind of the hallmark. It's the gold standard we use these days. Whenever CD Projekt Red does something, we take notice, as gamers at least. And we build our hardware around it to make sure we can facilitate their creativity. So, bravo, CD Projekt Red. I hope everyone has their own criticisms about the game before and after it comes out. September is a few months away, but with the sign of things to come, hopefully we'll get back to work within a month. We can afford all this new hardware to buy a PC to try out the game. But if you guys have any recommendations or suggestions for videos we should cover, leave them down in the comments below after this video is finished baking. Come to my Discord, come to the suggestions channel, leave a link or a suggestion there. We'll be happy to read about it, pass it on to everyone else. We'll talk about it, see if it works. And we'll see you guys soon. Thanks, everyone, for joining.
Take care.
Yeah. Sweet.